Listen, I'm the only one that thinks about Rome around the clock here, and so I'm not accusing. Maybe I'll just ask myself this: does this week change anything about how you guys feel about the U.S.'s chances or likelihood of turning the tide in the Ryder Cup?
So let me answer your question with a question. Does it change any of your thoughts on where we're going?
A teeny tiny bit. I would say I'm 10% less optimistic about their chances to go win. I think I still have a shitload of belief in this group of players and this team. And it is only the mystique of playing in Europe and this hurdle that they can't ever. It's that, that feeling halfway through the first session when in Europe, every time when you're like, oh, fuck, it's going to happen again, isn't it? Is the only thing causing me any pause. Like it's going to take. There's something magical about going over there that's going to prevent them from winning. It won't be their talent. Like it just won't. This group is entirely different than any other team that has made that journey on the ship for 3 weeks over across the ocean, across the Atlantic to go play in Europe. It's the only 3 guys that I think will be left from the 2018 team. All had winning records in Paris. It's an entirely different team. So I sense from European Twitter a lot of just a invincibility when it comes to playing Ryder Cups at home. And why wouldn't you? They do win it every time. I know it feels like we say this every time, but this one feels different. It feels.
Be the right club today.
Yes! Ronnie, that's better than most. How about in? That is better than most. Better than most! Expect anything different?
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the No Laying Up live show presented as always by our friends at High Noon. I am Solly, and I just would like to say, if we're rolling in old clips, I just want to acknowledge we've started 100 years war. This is all we're going to be doing in content for many, many years, and I will be fighting back once I'm back in the States and prepared for this. But Solly here in the hotel with my man DJ Pie. Hello, Pie Man.
Greetings. What a day out at Marco Simone. Can't wait to talk about it. Can't wait to happy to be with you. I was walking over from my hotel room. I was like, which hat should I wear? Of course, I'm not going to wear a hat on the live show. Why would I?
We don't have anything to apologize for.
And I don't have anything that fits. TC can't get anything in the shop that fits my big head. It's a disgrace. I'm not protesting anything.
DJ once paid extra to cover Ryder Cup week. Got to be a 12-6 curveball and a surprise to people tuning in.
Did not see him going in this session.
Sitting in. I didn't see a lot of stuff coming this week, and that's Big Randy jumping on a Ryder Cup recap live show. Hello, Mr. Big. Mr. Big is on mute, or we cannot hear Mr. Big.
There we go. I think Cody helped me out there. What's up, guys? TC said he needed to rest up for Sunday singles. So
nobody's going all 5.
Nobody's going all 5. So he tapped me in. He said, Big, give them hell for me. And that's what I plan to do.
If you're a tequila lover who's not satisfied with malt-based hard seltzer offerings, you're going to love the new High Noon Tequila Seltzer. It is now available nationwide, made with real tequila and real juice. I wish we had some over here. We are making do with the bar downtown. Downstairs at our hotel. It's got a clean finish because it's made with real Blanco tequila, 100 calories, gluten-free, no added sugar. It's got 4 bright, crisp flavors: strawberry, lime, grapefruit, and passion fruit. It is great for any occasion under the sun. No better time than summer. Even though it's already fall, it feels like summer when you've got a High Noon in the sunshine. Look for High Noon Tequila Seltzer on Drizzly or at your local convenience or liquor store, or visit highnoonspirits.com to find it near you.
I gotta say, glowing on that back nine. Temperatures coming down. We're under the Tuscan sun out there. High Noons would have played.
That would have really
played. It would have really played out there today.
It was an epic day. Listen, the competition's still not close. We had some excellent drama both on the golf course and golf course adjacent, I think, at the very end of the day, that has put a huge pep into this entire week. This shit only happens at the Ryder Cup. That's why I've been trying to tell you this is the greatest event. You guys, is Cantlay the biggest story of the day and everything that unfolded in the afternoon?
Randy, I want to throw that to you. What do you think?
Yeah, I think so. In a contest that had been devoid of much drama, enthusiasm, right? Very one-sided. Getting Cantlay riled up, seeing him make 3 birdies down the stretch, and then seeing guys getting asses. I mean, it certainly, I think, woke up the people at home, the viewership, Twitter. I mean, we needed an injection of energy and drama and competitive fire, and I think that's what we got. Thankfully, thank God.
Can we just go right into what started a lot of that, which is a tweet from friend of the program at 10:46 a.m., Mr. Jamie Weir, European superfan and journalist Jamie Weir.
For legal reasons, not an employee of ProTraj Holdings, in case there's any lawsuits coming.
Tweeted, understand from several sources that the U.S. team room is fractured, a split led predominantly by Patrick Cantlay. Cantlay believes players should be paid to participate in the Ryder Cup and is demonstrating his frustration at not being paid by refusing to wear a team cap. That reverberated through the grounds. They might have well have read it out loud.
Way to take a stand, Patrick. Way to take a stand. This will go down in the history books as one of the most courageous stands.
They might as well have read it out loud on the first tee box, because I don't know exactly when it started. Maybe even by the first tee. I believe it lasted all 18 holes. He was chanted at and waved. They were waving hats at him on pretty much every hole. By the time it got to 16, it was literally the entire hill of people left of 16 singing and chanting about Cantlay and his hat. We'll have a lot of things to say about Cantlay on this pod. The one thing I will say, credit to him, was he took it quite well. That was the most relatable and I've probably ever seen him, was, kind of just waving and kind of laughing and fake tipping his cap, which again led to an extremely, extremely dramatic finish. We're going to get into all the matches, but he birdies 16, birdie 17, trains a bomb on 18 to win the match, and goes into a huge celebration, does a fake waving at the hat at all the fans. His caddy, Joe LaCava, also got in on the goods and was waving his hat around, and allegedly got too close to where Rory McIlroy was walking on his way back to his ball for the putt to potentially have the match. And a showdown happened, some shouting happening on the green. Harry chirped. You saw it more than I did. I think I was already firing off tweets. You want to bring us there?
Yeah, so I think there's an angle that was on Golf Channel maybe where you can just see Joey and Rory in the frame, and Joey kind of waves his hand and waves off Rory. It looks like Rory. I think he was actually talking to Harry. I think, I can't confirm that, but that's what it looked like to me. Harry was just out of frame. So I think what happened was Rory said something to him, as in kind of like, that's enough, like, get out of my way, sort of thing. I think LaCava fired back. I think Harry fired back at him. I think LaCava fired back at him. I think Shane Lowry comes onto the green to insert himself for about the 5th time. We can talk about that later, but about the 5th time he's out there on the greens this week. LaCava says, you can read some lips on your own time.
Fuck off, Shane, I believe.
Some stuff to that effect. And then afterwards, we were watching intently, saying, this handshake's going to be very interesting. Let's see what happens. And it looked like it was very like, hey, sorry about that. cooler heads, lost my cool, bro. You know, that kind of tiger got out of its cage type of situation. And it looked like it was totally squashed. And then we're on the shuttle home, and this Rory McIlroy video starts popping up all over the place of him screaming in the parking lot. It looks like maybe screaming at Bones, maybe screaming past Bones, who's
Not
probably
screaming at
trying to
Bones.
break it up, I would imagine.
Yeah, screaming past Bones for sure.
So then Lowry, of course, is there again. And kind of a Forrest Gump type figure this week. But Lowry's there again, and he kind of breaks it up, pushes Rory away. And I don't think we really have too much more information than that.
No, a couple quotes from Luke Donald saying like Rory politely asked him to get out of the way. You know, there's not a whole lot more information other than that. Other than Rory was pissed at the car. Like, look like the lip reading said it's a fucking disgrace. That was a disgrace.
This is coded language from TC. That's straight out. I know a script when I see one, Randy.
We're gonna Zapruder film this. Randy, what's your reaction to this?
Oh my God, such a golf thing. That's my reaction.
It's a Ryder Cup thing. It's only Ryder Cup.
Yeah. I don't like I've tried to pick a side to argue, and it's like I think both sides are being a little ridiculous. I honestly I can't find too much fault based on the video evidence that I saw of
the booth review.
LaCava acting a fool on 18. I think he was just celebrating, and he was close to Rory, and Rory was trying to walk like, come on, I don't know. That's
to be clear on this, Randy, he was not near Rory's line. Rory was doing like a lap around the hole. He was not before this becomes an orthogonal spike mark thing.
Sure.
That was not it. Like he got a little in Rory's path, and I get that. And listen, it's a caddy. Like you don't like need to be celebrating here, but you gotta understand this event is different. Like shit happens all over the place, and you got to take it in stride. Rory has done some outrageous celebrations while there's still putts to be had on greens and things like that. And I get it, players different than caddy, but man, it just reeks of like you can't let that get to you. You gotta brush that stuff off. That is it's somewhat fair game in this event. I think you cannot let it escalate past that.
I don't know if LaCava. Yeah, sorry, Deej.
No, I don't know. I don't know if we're taking sides. If the people demand taking sides, I think I stand with Rory. I think just in that it is a caddy, and I hate for that to sound like classist in the like keep up, shut up.
DJ hates
the
caddies.
Know your role.
No, I mean, it is a little strange, right? It is a little bit of a coach, going out on the field to interfere or get in a player's face or something like that. It's like, hey, man, between the players, Rory's trying to get in his process and go stalk his now must make putt. Can't be getting in his way. He was close. He was close to him, and he's waving the hat, and
he was close.
No. And listen, is this all ridiculous? Of course, absolutely, super, super, super ridiculous. And that's why I'm like, Randy, I don't really care. I'm not really on a side here, but if I do not see Rory get pissed like that, and so he was very, very, very pissed about something. He was closer to the situation than we were. So I think if he's pissed and thinks that he was interfered with, I think he probably had a better view than I did.
I started with reading the tweet of what it led to here to begin with, right? Because again, it's LaCava and not Cantlay on this 18th green, but for 18 holes in a Ryder Cup, he was heckled on every single hole.
Cody, do you have the photo of 16? That I sent you. Looking down 16.
I mean, just serenading and taunting and singing on every single hole. He was heckled, right? And again, we do this all the time, but imagine if that happened in the U.S. There's a bunch of shit yelled at players, but they don't like actively bond together and heckle you, like make a point to go heckle you. Danny Willett aside, Danny Willett was a little bit of a targeted thing, but again, that was a war waged by the Euros. It was just like they had 18 holes of it, and he made 3 birdies to finish it, and you're goddamn right they were going to rub that in their face.
I can't tell you what a good shot he hit on 17.
But that's so to finish that, it's like, all right, man, Rory, you got a little teeny tiny bit interfered with LaCava walking somewhat near you. They just went through that for 18 holes. And that's kind of part of a European Ryder Cup. You can't they were in good spirits about it. Cantlay took all that really well. You can't be soft about that final moment on 18 after what they had just gone through. And we'll get to what led to it. Cantlay deserves a ton of shit on this, and we will address all that. But on the surface of the competition, man, it's like I'm really surprised how shook he got at this.
Which
So
is
a couple
which
of
is what
things.
rattles me. That it's just crazy that I guess everything's just turned up to a million, right? And I think you get into a week like this and everybody's kind of like waiting for the pot to boil over, and I just don't think it takes a lot to set them off. And this would be different, I think, if it was, if it's Poulter or Tyrrell Hatton or Rom or someone who boils over all the time. You don't see a lot of this from Rory. And then it was an hour after the fact, 40 minutes after the fact, like something happened that he was still really fucking hot about.
Yeah.
And that's where I'm like, I guess I'm going to give the benefit of the doubt to the guy who usually keeps his head on in these situations. Something else must have happened.
I would love to hear that. Randy, what were you going to say?
No, that's where I wash out. Just purely based on what we could see happen on 18 green. I'm like, come on, Rory. Like we got to refocus, start your process over. Like that should not be cause to be in a shouting match in the parking lot. So I would like to believe, I hope maybe something else happened just for Rory to react that way. Like you said, Deej, 40, 45 minutes after the fact. Solly, I know you alluded to all the stuff with Cantlay that comes here. I mean, it's no coincidence. This is Rory, who's been somewhat the mouthpiece for the PGA Tour in this whole live saga, and Cantlay, who may or may not be just running amok in the background. I mean, I think that plays a part. Obviously, giving away the match, that plays a part for Rory. It was a lot of things coming together perfectly here. But I just can't find much fault. At the end of the day, it's like LaCava, that's his guy. If he celebrates a little, that's where I'm like, come on. The act itself, as much as I want to hammer the US and dogpile, I just can't find enough there to be outraged.
And what I got to say, truly the only moment of like juice from the United States in the last 2 days.
Yeah.
Like every single player, Cody, I know you put the photo up earlier, but every single player is out
Captains
there.
too.
Captains, caddies, they're all like almost in just like firing squad line, standing there down by the 18th green, all whipping the hats. And we should spell this all out for somebody who, for whatever reason, didn't watch. Is like, you mentioned 16. I don't think it's a massive over exaggeration to compare it to like 16 at Phoenix.
Yes.
It was a drivable par 4 that was completely encircled, other than the pond short right of the green, completely encircled 40 rows deep by people. I talked to Max and Joe Greiner, his caddy, afterwards. Like, that's the coolest tee box we've ever been on, ever.
It's a scene,
standing there with like Saturday 4 balls, match on the line, all carry hero shot in a do or die drivable par 4, and you have 10,000 people circling this hole screaming. And in Cantlay's case, all of them, because of the report by Jamie Weir about the hat and how the hat was the protest, all of them, Randy, whipping their hats like terrible towels.
Petey Pablo.
Yeah.
Yes, it was fucking so cool. It was awesome. And so all that, I think, adds to just, I think guys were feeling itchy, I think, by that point.
Which just also, I listened to the whole show yesterday. I thought you guys did a phenomenal job, by the way. But one thing that really stuck out was your conversation around like who is the heart and soul of this U.S. team, right? Probably JT, but other than that, like who or what are they rallying around? And if it takes like this hat tweet to kind of gel Team USA, like that's a big own goal by Jamie Weir and the Euros. Like, you don't want to poke the bear, but also I'm like, God damn, it shouldn't take that for the US team to freaking get off the bus and show a little fire. Like that's pathetic.
I completely agree, Randy. But just to get back into this, Jamie Weir's tweet has 5 million views now at this point. So to say it made the rounds, I think it explains a lot.
Jamie Weir took to social media.
It's a little tough for me, honestly. Jamie's obviously a friend, but there's the middle part of it is accurate. Like we have multiple sources also confirming that Cantlay has caused a stink in some form or fashion about the players not being paid for the Ryder Cup, which is like its own separate topic that I would love to shred him on, because like we said this walking up 18, man, like imagine like needing to be paid for this. And
I think what's hard about this is like, did he say that to this person at this Ryder Cup? Like, I don't know. That's what's really hard to like get on the on the record, right? But when it like over the course of months, has he been talking about that? Like, yeah, I'm sure he has.
Oh, he
right?
has. Yeah, he
Yeah,
has.
that's what I mean.
But like I struggled to make the connection on the hat. I mean, that's the one thing like his team was very dismissive of and did not they did deny. Jamie had a follow-up saying something along the lines
Also,
of
we should mention he didn't wear a hat at Whistling Straits.
didn't wear a hat at Whistling Straits and did at the President's Cup for whatever reason. His agent said something about finding a hat that fits right. Rory has not worn hats in the past because he said it makes his head look like a pea head because the Ryder Cup hats don't fit. So
Rory's head's so small.
I think the hat thing is kind of a nothing burger. I think I could totally see some comments of him being like, I don't need to wear that. They don't pay me for that. But I think it would be wildly dumb of Patrick Cantlay to play in the Ryder Cup and protest it by not wearing a hat.
That's what I mean. And
that's where like this tweet is kind of like, man, makes me a little uncomfortable that he got an entire day of heckling of it that on something that they like you didn't give his team a chance to comment on, and they deny that is the case. It just seems tough.
Yeah, it's hard to know. It's hard to know the context of the comments, right? Like I don't know. You don't know if it was something flippant. You don't know if I mean Jamie's a very serious person. Like I don't doubt that he has sources that corroborated all of this and he has it buttoned up or he wouldn't have gone on with it. But yeah, it's crazy how some of the wording can easily up. But
well, he also followed up by saying that players are he wore it at the President's Cup and they are paid for that, which is not correct as well. So it sowed all this like there's like going back to the point of it firing up the U.S. team. We were walking past a few of the guys as they were leaving the media center, and like Brian Harman was openly like doing like a shitting on the media narrative of the team, a huge rift in the team and all of that. Not like performative in front of us. It was kind of like candidly they were to each other, like just kind of mocking the whole sequence of questions that came in the press conference. So I don't know, man. It was kind of jarring to see like golf Twitter like flip the entire vibe of the afternoon session. I'm not going to sit here and convince anyone that I think it changes the outcome of the Ryder Cup. I think that's false hope. Sure, the U.S. had a little fire under them, but man, we have not seen the singles lineup yet. We're going to get into that, but I struggle to come up with a lineup that would make me feel confident that they're going to pull off the greatest comeback of all time. So I don't know if I'm buying that, but it did add a little bit of juice in this afternoon.
I'm trying to think of a hatless player that would really be it's our equivalent of the ghost of Sevi. Right. I will say I tweeted this, Randy. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this because this is a 100% serious take. If there is no rift in the team room, if everybody is 100% with Cantlay, if everybody thinks that this is bullshit, the only move is to come out with 12 hatless players tomorrow. I am 100% serious, and everybody wants to push back. I'm like, oh, their hairlines and their tans and all this. Like, that's the fucking point, man. Is like go out there and be willing to look like kind of a fool in order to say like I'm with my fucking guy. That's it. Like I've never like the U.S. has never done anything even close to like it's so cheesy. And the photo was going around all over the place. I think Porath posted it, but the Euros on the first tee. Arm in arm, arms around each other for all the team photos. Where, as one commenter said, all the U.S. team look like two guys in a hot tub energy, just kind of sort of close to each other, don't really want to make eye contact, try to pretend like they're the only one there. And I just think that would be such a cool moment to just every guy that comes out like, oh man, is Sam Burns is out next, is he gonna wear a hat? Oh shit, he's not doing it either. He's not wearing a hat either. Oh, Max is coming next, he's not wearing a hat. That would be awesome.
I love that, DJ. Absolutely love that. My only, would it be better if they come out hatless, or would you want them to come out with the hat on and then after they play the first hole, maybe take it off and throw it aside before they hit their opening drive?
In the spirit of Patrick's clearly very well thought out and structured protest, maybe it's one hole. Put the hat in the bag. You play the first hole with no hat, and then you go on your way.
Yeah,
I love it. Meet me in the middle. That's fine. That's fine. Just do something, man. Just harness this into like some sort of like, hey, we are a fucking unit. We are together. We're gonna, truly sticking it to the haters and losers. Yeah, of which there are many.
I think if I can get a little serious, forgive me for being just a little serious for a second. I think part of what I thought about with that Jamie tweet, and you hear the word rift, And I think that word specifically is fraught, because I think there's a difference between there being a rift in the team room and that,
To
half
clarify,
of the
he said
team
he said fractured. He said fractured is the
fractured.
word. I don't know if that
I
matters
think
to
it's
you,
still
but
in the same spirit. Thank
yeah,
you.
okay.
Where it's like, well, does that mean like half the team hates Cantlay and they're like actively? And I don't think that's it at all. But I do think there's probably merit to, do you have 12 guys like invested, bought in, like this means a ton to people? And that's where I'm like, throughout the whole
No
US
way.
prep. Yeah, it's like I think
Yeah.
that
No
that
fucking way.
If we're up
could be a
10-6,
very true
absolutely
statement.
love this
Yeah,
event, man.
exactly.
There's no event like it, Randy. But as soon as you're down,
So I think
6-2, it's just fuck this, man. Get me out of here.
I think then you get like the Harmons and whomever, and like of course these guys aren't going to be like, oh, we hate Cantlay, we are like, we don't want to be in the same room. I'm like, no, but I do think there is a nuanced discussion about like, hey, I don't think this group of 12 individuals has really gelled like a team, and we say that every fucking Ryder Cup in Europe, so it's like just more of the same, I guess.
100% agree. And Cantlay has, without any shadow of a doubt, pulled some shenanigans, like both this weekend in the process. Like he has allegedly skipped a team meeting this week, I was told by a source I trust, that is not in the team room, but he has also said like, hey, I might be coming to you with some more stories here. Like there's some stuff going on that Cantlay has pulled. I don't know if there's stuff to like they're eating in the separate sides of the locker room or whatever that is. The only like excuse I'll give, and this may be a horrible part of the process, and that may not be the way to do this, but like part of what the U.S. has prided themselves on, going back to like Koepka's comments and like how they did things at Whistling Straits, was like, hey, like we don't like need to like bust up your weekly routine, right? Like we don't need to pretend like we need to do it like Europe. We're different culturally than them. And if you need something, to take a night off to have your rest or whatever, maybe that's excused absence. Maybe that's okay. Or maybe it's pissed off a lot of players. I think that's kind of a thing that like Monday or Tuesday after the Ryder Cup, you learn a whole heck of a lot. Somebody speaks up. Somebody starts the backstabbing, and it's going to be hard to assess that on Saturday night. Something's brewing. There's something cooking there. I just don't know if like we have the full story yet. And I'm very, very curious to find it all out.
Can I say, just suspending any like analysis of what's actually going on, purely like sociologically, man, what a perfect controversy.
Oh, it's the best.
Just can't be proven true or false. Everybody has an opinion. I mean, it's just this is as good as it gets.
Proven, no, but I am extremely, extremely confident that he has made us think about getting not being paid in this event.
Yeah,
which like is a thing to hone in on. And honestly, I don't blame the European fans at all for heckling him for that. Right? I think that's like a perfect emblematic problem with the U.S. side that I thought was kind of rid of. He's been a great team player as far as his results in team events so far, and I thought he was just going to come out and be a killer. He has decidedly not done that until the very end of this, the final match, and I kind of thought that stuff maybe didn't matter as much. But again, these guys prove that when they're, when they're losing, things just always fall apart somehow on the team bonding front. So,
but they also pulled it together in the four balls, and they got a 3-1 to keep this thing relevant for at least until 1 or 2 o'clock tomorrow afternoon.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, it's still like, again, I don't think the final result's in question, but it's fucking fun. Like each session is fun. Each match is still fun.
The golf course is fun, man. The finishing stretch of the golf course is really good.
I really wish those matches didn't flip on Friday afternoon. That ridiculous sequence of events that the U.S. lost 1.5 points on the final 2 holes. Not even for the final result's sake, but man, would it be interesting if this was what 9-7? It'd be 9-7 going into tomorrow if they don't have those ridiculous odds shifts in 3 consecutive matches.
I gotta say, I know they did a good job of it today, but I went and followed Max because he was kind of balling out. And Randy, to your point, where I kind of had that question in my head all day of like, who is the team heart? Like who's the guy that's gonna get him going when the chips are down? And honestly, watching the morning, I was like, maybe it's Max. Like he seems like he fucking really wants to be there, and he's taking it very seriously, and he's in that JT kind of spirit of like, hey, this means the same to us as it does to them. And so I went and followed him for quite a bit. It's so hard to close a 4 balls match on the road. Like watching, they got it to, I think Max eagled 12 twice today, which we'll get into, I'm sure. But he walking off that green was 4 up with 6 to play. And I was like, oh, it'd be kind of fun to watch him, finish that point and go 2-0 and yada, yada, yada. And like we're listening to the earpieces while we're out there and listening to the world feed and the radio broadcast and stuff. And they said on there, like, basically, like, Tommy and Nikolai are going to have to pretty much birdie out in order to keep this thing relevant. And they came so close to doing that. And when you get one putt to go in, like Fleetwood did on 13, all of a sudden, like, the whole crowd gets behind you. The whole crowd starts thinking, like, man, what if we flip this 4 into 0? What if we flip this 3 into 0? And you just kind of saw, like, it building again, what we saw on Friday afternoon. And it was just a really fun watch to try to watch people actually hold it together in that specific format, because somebody's always in the hole and somebody can always will in a putt. And goddamn, if weird putts don't start going in this event, man.
Oh yeah.
I've seen 12 to 15 shots and I'm like, oh, that would not have happened in another tournament. That would not have gone in.
Right.
I don't know if it's hyper focus. I don't know if it's whatever, but it's Fleetwood chipping in on 17 for eagle today. It's like, that's not a real shot, man. Nobody makes that. Nobody. Rom's
16.
Oh, 16. Sorry. Rom's eagle on 18. Yeah, and Rom's eagle on 16, and Max's eagle on 16, and Max's hold bunker shot on 15 today. It's like, those shots don't go in, and there's only 16 players on the golf course.
Yeah.
There's only 16 balls in play. People are holing out from everywhere. Like, that's statistically, shout out to the data boys. Like, that doesn't happen very much. So anyways, that was a ramble, but KVV is here.
I have a lot more to get to before we get to KVV, and I'm excited for that. But did you know we have our own rangefinder and carrying case now? We partnered up with our friend. I know it'd be kind of nice at these. We partnered with our friends at Precision Pro Golf to customize the NX10 rangefinder with your favorite NLU designs to rep the podcast on the course. You can head to precisionprogolf.com/NLU. Use code NOLAYINGUP to save $20 on the rangefinder and case. We've been using the NX10 for over a year now. It is a tank. It has fallen off my cart many times because, some shaky golf carts that we have here in Florida. And it is I've ran over it and it's totally fine. The thing has survived everything. Locks onto its target lightning quick. It's got additional features such as slope switch, HD optics, magnetic cart mount. It makes the NX10 our go-to choice on the course. You won't find a better customer care package in golf. From free battery replacements to industry-leading customer service and a 90-day money-back guarantee, there's a reason Precision Pro has been our trusted partner for years. Don't wait. precisionprogolf.com/NLU to save $20 and get your NLU rangefinder and carrying case with code NOLAYINGUP. I was going to ask you to do the Collinsworth slide in. You ruined my surprise here. But the Big J journalist has come back to the hotel, spent some time in the pressers. We've broken down La Cava Gate, but I'm wondering if you can add any journalistic.
Rory was yelling at KVV for his succession takes. Off camera.
Were you the one off camera?
I'm the eldest boy. I deserve this.
No, I was gonna say I'm sad I missed the no cap version of the segment of the pod. But I mean, it was honestly
talk about it if you want.
It's
all anybody cares about.
It's fine.
It's truly hilarious that we're having this much like controversy over a hat.
That's what I said.
Like,
it's so perfect.
It's the best.
I said it's the greatest like description of like what an egregious golf controversy is that like an opponent's butler waved his hat in your general direction and it became a huge fucking deal at the exactly. I bite my thumb at you, sir. Just ridiculous. I think like I heard you guys a little bit. I was in a wacko shuttle that completely wasn't my own shuttle. That my shuttle was run out. The shuttle system in Italy is great here, but I'm sure no one wants to talk about that. I was listening to the show. I think I'm Team Rory here too, Deej. I think caddies should not be involving themselves in the event in any way, shape, or form.
And I agree with that part. I do. Sorry, continue.
I mean, did he get too worked up? Like, I don't know. I think he and Patrick have philosophical differences about the way that they view, the way that the PGA Tour is going to go forward, the way that
being Rory.
Yeah, Rory and Patrick, I think. And I think, I don't know if I can't go as far as to say, and this is not attributing it to him, they don't like each other, but I think that there's some tension there. I think that played into the fact of like, I don't want to lose to this fucking guy. Again, and he did. And that must have been super frustrating that moment. They were one up on 16T. They flipped that match. The Ryder Cup is over, clearly, if Rory and Fitzy close that out. So it's just, it had to be like maddening to him to be like, I could have done this hero shit. I hit this amazing shot in the 16 or 17, whatever, 16. I almost made it. That fucking 3-wood that he hit into that thing was among the best shots I've seen. A lot of his shots is among the best shots of his I've ever seen. I mean, Wyndham was trying to take driver there. Every other guy took driver and hit 3-wood probably, I don't know, 180 feet in the air. It was
as good as Rory's shot was. Worst shot I've ever seen Wyndham Clark hit, even after the shank yesterday. It was so far left.
Anyway, I don't have a lot to sort of add on Hatgate. I agree with kind of what's been said. I mean, it's a little bit awkward because Jamie's our friend. He appears on the show a lot. I do think in those situations, just from a journalist perspective, you owe it to the person to get a response from them before you really go with it. It's a weird kind of element in this kind of Twitter world, this podcast world, where people just sort of throw stuff out. Sometimes people are journalists, sometimes people are not. Then other journalists are commenting on it. Then non-journalists are commenting on it. But Dylan DeShare and I were talking about, like, we kind of need like a journalism summit to like sort of set the rules here about like what's okay, what's not. If you're cheering for Europe, is it okay for you to, comment on something that's damaging to the U.S. team? I do think it is truly funny that it changed the tenor of the whole like Ryder Cup in that sense, but it did. And so that's like I'm all for it because it's like spicy fun now. It's like it is truly the kind of stupid shit that we look at and laugh about every time we do one of these Ryder Cup look back pods.
We need to take diligent notes.
Oh yeah, because when Elon blows up X or whatever, and there's no record of all the shit.
Oh, don't start calling it X.
Okay.
That's how it happens.
Yeah, I know.
That's how it happens.
All right,
That's sports washing.
That's right.
Twixer, I've been referring to it. I think it's just fucking funny. I mean, I do agree. Like we have talked to a couple people. Patrick has done some things that have frustrated people. We don't know directly. I think it's a little bit of a put on how they're like, we love this team. Everybody in here is awesome. Everything's great. I think they are kind of united about like sometimes you need something to rally. Football coach has been using this shit for years. The media doesn't believe in us. Media's trying to fuck us. Let's go out there and let's show them. Blah, blah, blah. I covered Brian Billick for a little bit of time during the Ravens. That was the only card he had to play. It was the media's trying to screw us. It didn't really help it. His offense was straight fucking sucked, which is really analogous to what the U.S. has looked like through the first 3 sessions of the Ryder Cup. The fact that they finally got in gear and sort of showed a little bit of talent and now are only down 5.5 is, I think indicative of like, why couldn't you guys wake the fuck up earlier?
What would Brooks and Scotty's QE rating be today?
Oh God.
We'll get to that. Just a final loop on that is the way golf or media in general is interpreted is, let's say there's like 4 facts involved with something.
Sure.
And if you mess up one of the 4 facts, that means the other 3 are wrong. That's not the reality,
sure.
But that's how things get treated. Right. And that's where, like, I think the U.S. has an easy rallying cry to get behind of not only the saying that he was the PGA Tour or the President's Cup guys are paid. That's an easy one to deny. And then like being able to like the one thing the agent did deny was that the hat was the direct protest. And now it's again, like he's let off the hook a little bit for
show me the paper where he spelled out this protest.
That was truly one of the other big things I learned. Just another serious moment of journalism here, like at ESPN, is if you get any of the little details wrong in an investigative report, they'll totally pull the sleight of hand of like, well, this guy's name was spelled wrong. So how like accurate can this report possibly be? And the people who want to sort of
don't use our system. You put the fedora on, you own it.
The people who want it to be false will only focus on those little things and yada 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 past the bigger, larger thing. And I think that's why you have to have shit nailed down. And
we've already talked a lot. We did this for the Solheim Cup. You guys did this when you're over in Spain, and it was great content. As a viewer,
might be a new tradition.
I was watching. I knew the sequence for the pairings on Sunday. I'd seen the sheet come out, but you guys doing the show had not seen it. So you're finding out kind of live how how things shook out. And DJ, I think you made some predictions on what the pairings are going to be. I know everyone watching this has the pairings and knows them, but it could be some fun content idea to kind of do it. We'll learn it all together. I know 2 pairings.
Just so you can laugh at how wrong I was. Here's what I would put out if I was Zach Johnson. First, JT. Second, Max Homa. Third, the Hammer Pat Cantlay. Fourth, Wyndham Clark. Fifth, Xander. Sixth, Brian Harmon. 7th, Scotty Scheffler. 8, Scam Burns. 9, Brooks Koepka. 10, Ricky. 11, Spieth. 12, Morikawa.
Okay. You're really front loading. You're just saying we're
fuck yeah. like
if we get to the end, the guys got to pull off some
Morikawa is my last in case something miraculous happens. But other than that, it is like whatever dry powder we got, man, throw it out there.
Again, why I'm not believing in the U.S. comeback. You said front loading. They're putting JT out first, who went 0-2 today. Like I don't know if the U.S. can front load. I don't think they have 9 good golfers right now.
Europe, I went number 1 Rahm, number 2 Fitz, number 3 Ludwig Aberg, number 4 Rory McIlroy, number 5 Hatton, 6 Fleetwood, 7 Straka, 8 Bobby Mack, number 9 Justin Rose, 10 Højgaard, 11 Hovland, 12 Lowry. It's a little blue wall back there, just in case any shenanigans happen.
All right,
but I think those guys would take care of business early.
If you'll allow me, I'll go. The only pairing I know is the first one, and if you'll let me spoil it, if you're ready for this now, I'll do it.
So ready.
I'll tell you the story of how I know. We're getting ready for the show. I asked Deej, "Hey, do you want me to go get some old fashions down at the bar?" He's like, "Sure." I go down to the bar. I'm carrying 2 old fashions back. I run into a joyous and excited U.S. fan in the lobby. Sully, Scheffler Rahm out first. What do you think?
What's your take?
I was like,
was it Zach Johnson?
No, seriously, what do you think?
Because it's not too late to change.
Don't tell me anymore. All
right, Rahm. I rocked it.
You rocked it with Rahm.
I could do this.
So Scheffler played once today. He lost in historic fashion, 9-7 in foursomes, and we'll get there. And that's who you're sending out first. Again, I'm not really questioning it because I don't really know like what your lineup should be when your guys play this poorly over 2 days. Obviously, I'm thrilled to get another rematch with Scheffler and Rahm. I mean, Scheffler played really well on Friday, but did not play well in his one match on Saturday. May have been exhausted. I don't know, but that's a great match to start this thing. And
as long as JT is 2 or 3, I'm fine with Scotty going out first. I do think Scotty, like, singles is the closest we have to 72-hole stroke play, and I think his floor is still higher than anybody else's. But yeah, that's concerning.
You
and
left out the part where he cried.
He did have his fucking soul.
Which I love because
has a soul.
That was where I was writing about. I mean, Sully still hasn't read that piece, but
I did read it. It was great. It was fantastic. I was nervous it was going to make me cry, but thankfully it didn't.
Okay. No, I honestly, that people who were saying like these guys don't care enough, I was like, man, look at that right there, like that amazing picture that somebody tweeted with him with like his head in his hands and Meredith like had her arm around him. Like, man, I've been that guy, like just being like absolutely, yeah, exactly. 72.
I've been on Ryder Cup recap podcast.
Yeah. Forget to hit record, man. It's brutal.
No, about my takes.
No, that's true.
So, I mean, I think he'll want to play better. He obviously gives a shit, but it's just when you get your ass kicked that bad. I mean, there was that great video that showed up where someone, I think it was Freddie Couples, like informed JT, hey,
it was Bones.
It was Bones. Yeah. Hey, they lost 9-7, and you could see just lip reading JT 9-7. Like, holy fuck.
Which I think I would love. I think real quick, Cody. Sorry, I think we have some offsetting apologies to offer. TC, who of course is not with us this evening, did want to apologize for Ludwig's afternoon session.
Thank you, TC.
He also had a great bit about how, I'm sorry, I thought he was going to play 26 or 36 holes. He actually only was able to play like 28, which was really funny. But he apologized for the afternoon. I think a lot of the Ludwig apology tour was, hey, let's see what he does. He goes out and wins his first 2 matches as a rookie, including one in the largest margin of victory in the history of the Ryder Cup. Will you apologize?
Okay. we need, like, if you want to look at just a little tiny bit of data to understand why they lost that match 9-7, the European team played totally fine. The American team of Brooks Koepka and Scotty Scheffler, Scotty was -4.25, Brooks was -4.26 strokes gained. I don't think they would have broken 80 on their own ball. So for that match, I will not. However, going 2-1 and being an energizer and being part of a European team that has totally flipped the script, which is where this whole thing is anchored in, yes, I will apologize.
Okay. Hell yeah.
And I will don the honorary fedora for apologizing for the take. That's satisfying.
That's great.
Okay.
Hopefully that will satisfy TC. TC, I see you, man. I'm playing out here.
Here's this to say about this opening match.
And actually, let me just apologize very quickly. I believe I said something to the effect last night of Brooks is going to be, quote, the dude. Not the dude today. He was not the dude. Hand up. I'll wear that one. That was not good.
The dude was not really out supporting other people's matches either after he took a beating. I did see him finally.
He's got to get his naps in.
Dude might have been licking his wounds.
I did see him finally show up on the 18th there, but that was, honestly, there was not anybody with the Cantlay Wyndham like pairing for a big chunk of it. Like they were all up on other matches or whatever. It's just sort of like, hey, fend for yourselves.
Yeah.
Whereas John Rahm was like, just we're gonna leave John Rahm for a sec, was absolutely like bouncing between matches and like analyzing shot by shot and like just it was awesome to like overhear him and listen to him and be like, we've got to make these guys putt worse. It's just absolutely bullshit. He was awesome. I was like, God, I want to talk to you, but I'm so afraid.
All right, Rahm going out first.
Well, so first match though is again is as bad as Scotty played today. Like that feels like a good draw for the U.S. in terms of you have to flip the script on its head tomorrow. And I think like if you got like Scotty versus Bob McIntyre, that's just not doing a whole lot. Yeah. So if you get the reignition of Scotty on his own ball and beating John Rahm again back to back,
rematch of Whistling Straits.
Rematch of Whistling. They had an awesome kind of back and forth in the 4-ball yesterday as well. That's like if there's a path to victory, it is Scotty beating Rahm. Again, I'm not going to do the clown makeup thing where I convince myself of a path to victory because I'm ready for them to just come out and lay another egg tomorrow. But that is a good draw for the U.S.
I will take Rahm.
For sure. Randy, Rahm, Scheffler, what do you think?
I think Rahm based on form. I was going to add that, I think the United States honestly should feel fortunate that Jamie Weir tweet came out because if not, the story of the day is I believe the first two groups in the morning lost 7 of their first 8 combined holes and not like Europe necessarily went and won the holes. The U.S. team lost those holes. And so to follow up an ass kicking on Friday with a complete no-show out of your first 2 groups with 4 of the biggest names on your team is, I don't know what to say about that except for like that just simply cannot happen. And they were throwing a lifeline late in the day with all this hat stuff. But I think Rahm, I honestly, my only thing with putting Rahm out first.
God, that's so sick.
That's awesome.
Makes me laugh every time.
I know.
The hat incident.
Yeah, and do this unfortunate hat incident. The whole complexion changed. All right.
I don't know if the boys could hear me. No, I was just going to say, I think throwing Rahm out first is, I understand, right? Put your horse out there, let him set the tone, but yeah, it's a true, like, what if he gets shot in the face situation? And if Scotty can beat him and Rahm goes down, then I think all of a sudden, you give the U.S. team coming off, they're talking this momentum to end Saturday. And if they get that first match, then it's like, oh God, our guy's going to start to pucker. So I probably would have put Rahm more in that middle ground, start to build the wall with him.
To counter that, Randy, you're okay. I'm sorry. You're talking European side. I'm kind of with you on that, right? I think it's again. If Rahm wins, though, the Ryder Cup's over. I mean, I currently think it's over, but if he wins, it's definitely over.
Match two.
Somebody tell us.
Match 2 at 11:47 local time. Somebody who Randy once called a generational player. He's another California guy.
My guy CM.
Morikawa.
Okay. Colin Morikawa, Victor Hovland.
Wow.
What do you got?
Wow.
All right, I had that towards the back of my lineup, but that's exquisite.
Class of 2019. That's the big question. Who's going to be the best of this group? Wolf, Morikawa, or Hovland?
I mean, talk about, Randy, everything you just said. If the U.S. takes those first 2, those are big pelts. However, I think I'm taking Hovland in that one as well.
Colin had a really nice bounce back today. He played good golf. He and Sam had a very good match, like a prototypical, here's how you play 4-ball. Here's how you make birdies. Here's how you give yourself 2 looks. Here's how you put pressure on your opponent. I'm still going to take Hovland. I mean, Hovland had a rough afternoon session. I think a just something to look at with Hovland and Rory. I think those were the only 2 guys to go all 4 sessions on the Europe side. I think
might be sleepy.
Max was the only one to go on the American side.
I think that's right.
Yeah. Is he going to be sleepy? Colin Morikawa was pretty rested. I guess he played 1 match today. He played 2 on Friday. That's the only reason I think Morikawa would not have a chance, but might pull out the win. I'm taking Hovland.
I think Rom and Hovland would rather die than lose those 2 matches. That's just like that's obviously not truly die, but like their souls would die if they. I just can't see it happening. So,
match 3.
No, this feels like, yeah. Sorry, I like Vic. I just don't see Colin as the type that's going to relish, being in that spot over on European soil. This feels like the tournament of Victor. So give me Vic in that one.
I agree with you on that. Match 3. I think
real quick, Cody, if I may, just sorry to interrupt there. There's a lot of noise in strokes gain data and match play to begin with. There's a lot of noise in something that's this small, but worth noting on the European side, the top 2 guys in strokes gain total for the week are Rahm and Hovland. Like that's the first 2 guys that they're sending out. Scotty Scheffler is the 20th ranked overall in the competition, but again, the U.S. is choosing between a bunch of bad options as of right now to send out. But Europe is saying, no, we're front loading. Top 2 guys that have played the best golf this week are going out first.
I think Hovland getting his ass beat in the afternoon was kind of a weird one too, with that. Like, I know it's all relative and whatever, but like really long layoff, right? Like with like getting that match done super early, like
competitive rust.
Like truly, you have to like. It's one thing. I truly believe this. I think it's one thing to basically be like, man, I got to go hammer lunch as fast as I can. I'm going right back to the first tee. I think it's another where it's like, I don't know. Should I like get a massage? Should I like try to get a quick nap? Should I hang out? Should I what? And I think they looked like different people when they went back out, and it's kind of understandable.
The European media has really been hammering this layoff for the U.S. Maybe Victor should have enrolled in another tournament.
Exactly.
That's
interesting.
I don't know, challenge tour somewhere in there. Just zip over to
Senior Italian Open.
Yeah.
I thought you said Ludwig. Sorry.
All right, next match.
Match number 3. Somebody who has stoked a little bit of fire in us. We've mentioned it in our internal Slack channels. Somebody who we used to just be kind of disgusted over, and now all of a sudden we're like, damn, man, like this guy kind of getting it going for me a little bit. That is
Cantlay?
The future, probably Sir, but we're not going to get too ahead of ourselves there. Justin Rose.
Oh, sorry, Euroside
versus the man with no hat.
Cantlay.
Yeah.
Pat the bat.
Pat the bat.
Pat the no hat bat.
That's a fun match. God, that's a fun match. Do we think I mean, kind of a bleak way to look at it, but do we think this is Justin Rose's last Ryder Cup match?
Ooh, potential captain.
43.
In the very near future.
Yeah.
I don't know. He made a big deal. Made a big deal about it earlier this year. His recovery trailer or RV that was traveling around with him. I don't know if that made it over. Yeah, I think is there a cold plunge situation at the hotel? Who knows? But I agree with you. Outside of almost like probably his last match, sure pick to be a future captain though.
Certainly his last European. Sunday.
I would think so, right?
Yeah, I think there's a very good chance.
That feels like
play Bethpage. I think there's a very good chance he could be the captain at Adair Manor. He's not that much different in age than Luke.
Very as clearly as I can state this, Patrick, if you want to play the Ryder Cup, you fucking got to beat Justin Rose tomorrow.
Yeah,
you have to. You absolutely have to. So I'm taking Cantlay in that one.
Man, I don't think I have good enough luck for Justin Rose to go out on an L. I think he's going to absolutely rub my nose in it as he has all week. And he's hand up. I can put the fedora on if you want. Justin Rose has been awesome this week. It's been very fun to watch. You detailed the celebration yesterday. You kind of gave a mini version of it today, but the like turning around and having the like clarity of mind when that putt goes in to turn around and just point at your teammates and single them all out is like, man, that's up there with like the coolest celebration.
Yeah, that was for all the lads, he said.
It is
important to the Morgan Stanley guys next.
I don't think you could pick. That will be the most partisan match you could possibly.
That's what I mean. I think I think Justin might win.
But
I don't think Cantlay can do that.
Let me tell you this
magic shit 2 days in a row.
I got some real like Patrick Reed vibes from that Cantlay match today. It reminded me a lot of the Hazeltine stuff where he was just like, like fuck y'all. I'm gonna basically like, kick your shit. No one's gonna fucking tell me that I'm not gonna do this.
And now he's got the taste for blood too.
Yeah. So I don't know. I mean, it'll be super. If Patrick Cantlay doesn't realize that he like super feeds off of negative energy from other people, and all of a sudden it's like, oh, okay, like people are going to root against me the whole rest of my career. That's awesome. I love that.
I don't know why I thought of this. He should come out with such an outrageous hat, like a cowboy hat.
Really tall hat.
Just really like down low over his eyes. The man in the black hat is out there just wrecking people.
Randy, what gets you going on this Rose Cantlay match?
I think KVV hit on it. I think Cantlay is one of the 3 people that I trust on Team USA to kind of embrace the hate and enjoy being the target of a lot of ridicule. I think Cantlay beats him tomorrow. I obviously found something late in the day today. That should be a fun one, but I think Toolman gets it done.
All right, let's think about this. I want to, as we go through this, I want to plot out a potential path to U.S. victory just for interesting sake. All right, so I don't think they're going to win.
They're not going to win all
those.
3 of those.
They're not going. Yeah, they're not going to win the first. They're not going to beat both Victor and Rom. All right, so let's say they get 1 point from one of those 2, and let's say Morikawa gets them a 2nd point. Now Cantlay's got him a 3rd point, so they want. Let's at the best case scenario for them is they go 3-1 in the first. Probably. Best case realistically is 2.5 to 1.5, but let's say they go 3-1. Let's just sort of plot that out. Okay. All right, we're moving forward now.
Would love to see JT here shortly, Code Man.
Okay, I like that match.
As a huge JT apologist, I'm going to challenge you on this when this comes. I mean, he was bad today.
Okay, well I didn't watch that.
Can you look at his strokes gain data when we get to him? Because I heard someone was telling me about it. It's like he's like
bad,
real bad.
It's bad. Continue, Cody. Sorry.
Spoiler, it ain't good.
It's almost the worst. That's how bad it is. Match number 4. I'm not surprised to see him in this position. Former number 1 player in the world, number 1 in a lot of people's hearts.
Which
also
goes. Are we talking about
Europe? He also goes hatless at times.
Roderick McIlroy.
Yes, sir. Rory McIlroy. Hopefully he gets out of that parking lot tonight. Versus
this is interesting.
He does very, very well on southern grass. He's a man
Burns.
Currently, Sam.
God, Rory's gonna beat the fuck out of Burns, right?
Yeah, this is tough.
He was better today.
Burns had a really good bounce back today. He played very good golf. Now he's sitting at 1-1, and that as much as was a lot to question in the whole process and all of those things. It flipped. Like last night on the show, we were saying, hey, Burns was the guy to question, not JT. It kind of flips back there today when we get into the matches, I think, a little bit. And Burns played great. He was himself again. I don't know if he was in the wrong format in foursomes.
I shit all over Burns last night, so I feel like I should have to wear the fedora. He was much better.
Pass it to me for the JT part.
Okay,
so.
Bring it in.
You can wear it for that too.
Okay.
So, I mean, I think Rory wins it, but I have some hope in that one.
Okay. Yeah.
Hope. I like hope though. Randy, you have any hope here?
If Rory doesn't win this, it's
Rory's
I might actually call him to retire again for the 10th time.
Rory's been really, really good in big moments, and it's very hard to describe at big moments this week. Shots that they need to hit this week, Rory has absolutely hit.
I think he was honestly, I don't think he really thought this, but I was thinking at some point that he really wanted to go fucking 5-0. And so he was kind of pissed off that he lost that match because he was like, I'm putting this Ryder Cup on my back and I'm going to win all 5 matches.
It's hard to explain like the energy out there when Rory starts running and what I don't know. That's a lot of people rooting for Rory on a golf course. It seems to suit him really well.
I think it just something to look for in that is Rory's playing his 5th match against somebody that's only playing their 3rd match, which is like what the U.S. tries to do. I know it's really hard to predict is one thing. And Rory gets really up to beat, he lost in the JT match in 2018, but gets really up to beat Xander, right? And it's hard to, I don't know. It's kind of hard to front run that or get super amped and super fired up and super built up for somebody that you really know you should beat. Just calling a couple flags to be it could. There's some.
He didn't beat Stuart Sink. He have Stuart Sink.
Stuart Sink, gave it to him.
Stuart Sink's such a unit. You guys have that takeaway this week?
Large man. Yeah.
Randy?
I got to take Rory, but I'm not super confident in it. I don't know.
Is Rory still dead?
Rory is dead. Yeah. And I'm just concerned with the way he was reacting tonight. Like shouting in the parking lot. If that's truly just over LaCava and the US team, like again, what are we doing? I don't know.
I'm kind of with you, Randy. Next up, Cody.
Next up, we have
Max.
hold on. Yes. Match number 5. Mr. Max Homa.
Okay.
Very good.
U.S.'s
Versus-
best player.
Yeah.
This Ryder
Yes.
Cup, I
It's
must say.
very, very interesting where they put him in this
Not-
lineup. But
not
vers-
hyperbole to say that.
No.
Sorry.
By a lot. Yeah.
Versus.
versus Matt Fitzpatrick, which I
Ooh,
think could be a very, very interesting match.
that's fun. Wow. Okay. You're just now telling me this for the first time. I have
Again, the opposite. The
I have
opposite.
to think about this.
The opposite
I'm
there.
just learning
Wow,
this.
she's a tremendous lady. You're
Fitz
just
has-
now telling me this.
Fitz has only played 2 matches. Max has played 4. Just a note there as well
Fitz has
on the
been
fatigue factor.
solid.
Wasn't that great today?
Well, not as good today, but
Didn't
still.
do a whole lot today. But yeah, I mean, gosh, Max is truly ascending, right? God, am I starting to like buy some hope here? Do I need to like replay the tape from last night of don't convince
God.
yourself?
All
don't
right,
try
so
to
let's-
convince yourself?
Solly, big
keeping-
believer in fate. Chris,
keeping-
big believer in fate.
Keeping
Solomon.
track.
This
We're
is the
gonna
5th
say
match.
5th match. So Rory probably wins that match. So it's 3-2.
Is this 5th or 6th, Cody?
This is
Sorry.
6th, right?
No, that was the
No,
5th.
this is 5.
But we didn't account for it. We said 3-1 was earlier.
You were
right?
too fast on 3-1.
Was
so
it?
it's,
Okay.
this is the
Yeah.
5th match. Yeah.
Okay. All right, so where would we?
You got to be 4-1 through these.
4-1 through these. Okay.
You have to. Yeah. Don't make
Or
me
at
believe,
least-
guys.
Wow.
At least get a half point out of Burns.
Yeah. I mean,
There's gonna be a moment tomorrow when you do believe.
there's
for
always
sure.
that one little moment where like, oh my gosh, if we flip these 6 matches and the rest finish exactly how it is, we got this.
It's
But
never.
I
If
th-
in
I
case
think-
you don't know,
yeah.
in case any listeners out there don't know, it's never happened. Never, ever, ever happened. 5, much less 5.5.
But
it's 5. The gap is 5.
Excuse me.
Yeah, it's 10.5 to 5, and so the gap is 6. 10.5, 5.5.
Right?
Right?
5.
Yes.
It's 5.
I'm really good at math.
Carry the one.
It is that has never happened. However,
But they just got to get 9 or whatever. They
in
get-
2012,
People forget
Europe
this.
did score 8.5.
okay.
I mean, granted, the last match Tiger kind of punted after the celebration already happened, but the road team has scored 8.5 when down by 4 going into it. So
Got to be sick if it came back. The whole tie thing came back again.
Oh, Lord willing.
Cody, next match.
Next match number 6, representing the great
predictions?
state of Georgia.
Brian Harmon.
Brian Harmon versus the
love it.
excitable boy from England, Lord
Tell me that.
Carol Hatton.
God, Solly, I kind of like that one for the U.S. too. Harmon was good today. He was much better. He was very, very bad on Friday. And I thought he was playing like actually solid station to station golf out there. He was in play a lot more. Short game looked better. I think he's getting just more and more comfortable.
I don't know. Neil did say in our Slack he's not ready for varsity.
And that's fair.
Foursomes was good. 4-ball was not good this afternoon.
Guys,
He did
can
not
I do not like this European lineup. I mean, just reading through the 6 names left, I mean, if shit gets squirrely early, you're going to be counting on Lowry, Fleetwood, Højgaard, Ludwig, Big Shot Bob, and Sepp Straka to try to save this thing.
Randy,
I don't
listen,
know why. I don't know why Luke felt the need to like have to win this in the first 6 matches.
Are you saying you don't have the horses in the back?
I'm saying I'm worried we don't have the horses in the back.
Maybe Luke panicked after the LaCava thing. He's like, we're intimidated. We're ready to.
I think if you are a captain leading and you don't front load, that's your only chance to get lambasted, right? Like that's what Davis Love in 2012 let them get too far out in front, and the momentum was all on the board. Like that's the whole thing. It might be a myth, but like the path, the fight for the early momentum seems to be the most important thing. Like I don't know. They just go out and step on their neck, and then you don't need to rely on them. And listen, Randy, I've been looking at the names that you just read off and talking myself into the U.S. winning for literally 2 years now. It hasn't worked out that way. All right, I'm not letting you do it. I'm not letting you fall.
No, I know, but if there is a path, I feel like this lineup gives you one.
I do agree.
8.5 points is so many points.
It's so many
that's
points.
I know.
really so much.
I know.
I want to throw a little tiny flag on the strokes gain data too, because they're not playing stroke play. They're playing a team game where Brian Harmon's playing away from a lot of flags in 4-ball. Like and Max is playing like he's hitting it to
noisy.
here and Max is taking a shot, or you know what I mean? Like they're putting out of order and they're like it's
noisy.
There's weird shit going on.
It's noisy for sure.
I did enjoy that Brian Harmon after the whole like does the team dissenting like walked out of the press conference and was like,
yeah, truly,
which was very funny.
Yeah.
It's a lot of noise, but it's like, yeah, you can kind of look at this and see who played the best and who didn't.
Sure.
Like individual, it's kind of like, all right, like Spieth duck hooks one into the absolute shit on 6. And like hypothetically. And JT whiffs it after trying to get a drop. Like JT gets a minus full shot on his approach. Or if you bury your partner in the greenside bunker, then their strokes gained approach is going to look shitty because they can't get the ball out. Like it's just in that small sample size, really, really noisy. But overall,
now Randy, I'm trying to think. I'm trying to get inside your captain's head. You know, where's the firewall? Where's the firewall going to start again? Right. I feel like now he's got to burn a couple. He's got to burn a couple.
You got to
cards.
go. You got to go Bob and Hoygaard, I think. And
I was going to say, I would vote. I would picture Big Shot Bob in this next spot.
Oh no.
Match number 7. Here we go. Not Big Shot Bob, but at one point in time spent a ton of time in Texas, specifically Ludwig.
Oh God, Ludwig. Ludwig.
Versus
or whatever the fuck they say.
Versus Brooks Koepka.
Whoa.
I like it. I like it.
It is a big boy match for Ludwig of a big spot on a Sunday, and like I think we're gonna see who Ludwig really is tomorrow.
This could easily be, it's a big deal for the Europeans who clinches the Ryder Cup with who gets that point.
That could be it.
God, TC could just absolutely be in ecstasy if it's Ludwig.
Can I flip that on? This is a big spot for Brooks Koepka.
Yeah.
And I'm going to put the fedora on literally all the commenters that have been just like, oh, you can't outtake Brooks. You can't. I threw some challenge flags on like, hey, man, hasn't really done shit since the PGA, like laid a huge egg the last time they went to Europe and just laid an absolutely epic egg today with the #1 player in the world.
The likes of which we've never seen.
The likes of which we've truly never seen, and was awful in the 4-ball yesterday until he finally made a birdie in like the 13th hole. Like he has not brought it. It did not come. He
whined like a bitch after John Rahm
kicked
his ass.
Not it. And has been probably like has to have been one of the like we said, we've not seen him out there supporting any of the team or any of that. Like no addition to the team so far. Truly almost none. And I would say he is, as again, looking at noisy stats, the 4th worst player so far in this event.
He doesn't really like help all the live boys who are like saying, well, it should have brought Bryson, should have brought, some of the other guys. Like, yeah, man, like here's your fucking big killer who's just sucked.
This your king? This your king?
Random thing to pay attention to that I was really struck by. Ludwig makes Brooks look really small. And Brooks is not small.
He's a linebacker.
Brooks is a big dude.
No, he's not a linebacker. I'm so over that.
That's the joke.
He's a Shelby Montana linebacker. Outside linebacker.
That is true. If we're talking 6-man football, hell yeah, he is.
That's the joke, Cody. He doesn't actually look like a linebacker. That's a thing that people were trying to put out in the world.
Pay attention to that Steadicam shot tomorrow, because Ludwig makes him look like a little boy.
It's gonna be like the Mark Ingram, Derrick Henry photo.
It's crazy, man. Ludwig's a unit.
I think the pulse rate in that match could be very low. It's true. Just be a bunch of dudes being like, yeah, cool.
I don't know who I'm taking in that one.
I'm gonna take Ludwig.
Let's get through the pairs. I think the predictions are bogging us down a little bit.
I'm gonna take Koepka. Just for the record, I'd like
he better win.
I might take.
You don't think there's any carryover from today? Like Ludwig just absolutely going out there and with Victor and like just beating their ass 9-7.
I wonder how much of that was Victor.
Didn't carry over this afternoon.
Yeah,
because Ludwig he vacated the premises this afternoon.
All right, what do we got next? So let's see, Randy. What else we got here? I mean, I still stand by my Big Shot Bob, right? I almost wonder if they're hoping it's over by then.
Or Hoygaard. It's got to be.
Yeah. Or Sepp Straka versus somebody who we've talked about. Had some trouble. Saw you went out on a limb for him. He's been there. Yes, JT. Good call. It's tough.
That's a good match. Straka's been awesome, man. I've really enjoyed watching him.
I got a lot riding on that one tomorrow. That's a lot of Fedora
You
time.
still owe me an apology for the Straka take.
We'll get there.
You were making fun of me. For
He's 1-1. If
was,
he's 1-2, that I will not apologize
he's
for.
played well enough to
he's played
justify
nice.
his position on
He's
this
been a
team.
very solid rookie.
Solid player. He's not. Listen, again, 2-1. I'll apologize.
I
1-2. I absolutely will not.
Considering we're talking Sepp Straka, and if you brought his name up at a PGA Tour event, it would be in order to like shit on the field, right? Like, oh yeah, fucking, you want to go watch Sepp Straka? Like he's that dude, and he showed up and very much held his own in this Ryder Cup, and has been fun to watch. He's
been totally fun. He's neither great nor terrible, but Justin Thomas and both he and Spieth were epically bad today. They were so bad. I watched their 4-ball match this afternoon, and it was just, I watched the Forsman's match this morning. Again, you look at the data, those two are the lowest, both the lowest 2 ranked players, JT 23rd and Spieth 24. JT had no shot in the morning. Jordan was epically bad. I mean, duck hooking irons.
I feel like that's where the stroke scan thing, I feel like I've watched enough of JT to be like, he has not been bad. That's where like some of the things where he's having to like do crazy shit to try to save Jordan's awful. Jordan's been bad. Jordan's actually had some moments where he's okay, but he's been by far more bad. And I think JT trying to have to bail him out a lot is where some of that noise would be.
But flipping that into playing his own ball in the afternoon, he was the worst player of the session. Like he was negative 5.5. Like again, like you're playing different shots than you are in a normal stroke play event, but like his iron play was awful, and that's supposed to be his biggest skill. So we were counting on it flipping. And it did. I mean, those two made 0 birdies after the 7th hole, or after the 7th hole in 4-ball.
That's not good.
And they lost to Justin Rose and Big Shot Bob. Like, kind of in my opinion, I was like, oh gosh, Rose is playing really great. And you're like, look at the numbers. Like, no, he really didn't do much of anything. Just made a couple key putts. And Jordan and Justin just did absolutely nothing on putts. They had to make putts that weren't even getting putts to the hole. Like, not even giving them a shot. And it was just really deflating, man. Like that you had a actual real chance to flip. I mean, they could have swept the afternoon session if those guys go out and beat McIntyre and Rose. And that was like, TC said it last night on the show. Like, if you don't go beat those two, man, like people are like, it calls everything into question. It really does. I will triple down on like, you had to go down with JT. You had to put him on the team and had to put him out there. I do not think a Lucas Glover or Keegan thing was going to flip this, but man, they did not answer the bell. That's not how processes work. Like, you can totally second guess it. Now, a lot of people first guess it. That's fine. I would still do it. Like, that's not a regret, but it has not worked out. And that's a part of the equation.
TC wanted to apologize to Big Shot Bob personally as well for saying he didn't want to see his ass until singles,
and the Obenites,
and the people of Oban, the Obenites. That was a very cool moment. I just randomly happened to be standing in the sea of humanity when Bob goes out and earns his first full point, and his mom like comes up and gives him a hug, and she just kept saying like, my boy, my boy, my boy, my boy,
you're my boy,
and just crying. And it was fucking awesome. It was really cool.
Please, I hope that's a scene.
It might need to be a
big scene piece.
Okay. All right, Randy, who's your squad putting out next?
Bob or Højgaard, I hope. I'll toss Højgaard out.
Okay, match number 9. Randy, you're right. Nikolai Højgaard.
All right.
Versus
Spieth.
No.
Probably.
They had to separate Spieth and JT.
Wyndham?
Not
Xander?
Wyndham. Yes, Xander.
Okay.
That's a great draw for Europe.
That is. It's a good one. I don't know what to tell you.
Xander's putting has been shitty.
Xander's putting's been very bad. Xander has laid a complete and total egg. He is 0-3. He is perhaps the LVP of Team USA. It's been really, really bad.
At least Netflix wasn't here to record it.
Fuck. We might have to do a whole Stefan Schauffele pod in the future. Based on
Sounds like he was inserting himself out there today.
But again, in that scenario, like, it should be one of the U.S.'s top players, and this is probably the 12th guy on Europe's team. Like, those are the matchups you want if in singles.
Nikolai's going to give away. He's going to give away a lot of holes. He was all over the fucking place.
True.
4 balls, he was fun. He's making birdies and he's hitting shots at the right time or whatever. But singles matches where he doesn't have anywhere to hide, I think he's going to give away a lot.
All right. This is one of those matches. If Xander does not win, I'm I'm good on Xander just as a complete
Entity.
doesn't need to be on another Ryder Cup team. I don't need to hear about him at majors. Like he's just not a serious golf. I don't need to hear from him.
I love you, but you're not a serious person.
I'm willing to entertain an idea that the U.S. needs like a split squad for like like they do in spring training. Of like you got a home team that's like all the dogs, and you have an away team, like just
That's
the real
interesting.
dogs
killers,
go on
yeah.
the road.
The Walker Cup team. Send them over there.
All right, who's next, Cody?
Match number 10, the pride of Ireland, Shane Lowry versus somebody who we've talked about has had some issues so far up to here. We talked about his partner already, Jordan Spieth.
You made me really laugh in the car the way dude saying he was the Forrest Gump of this Ryder Cup because he's been everywhere.
He's all over the place.
He's running around
Yeah.
like doing, he's
had
a
15 Dr. Peppers
big
out there
cuddly
today.
bear, getting the crowd riled up, which are total. You just don't do that.
Yeah,
in
you
the
don't do
US, Ollie. But he's in there fighting in the car park or fighting on the green
Or peacekeeping. Or both.
It did so when some of the reporting more came out, it seemed like it was Justin Rose who actually kind of it was Rose but also Tommy was involved too. TC wanted me to mention that. He said that if Tommy was involved, that it's clearly fucking LaCava's fault because Tommy's not a hothead. Tommy would not get into it unless it was like a serious breach of etiquette.
There might be something there. I kind of agree with Tron on that.
But I do like every time I see Shane like being like, you want to fight? I'll fucking fight. I see myself in college being like, having like that sixth drink being like, let's go then. Hey, come on. I'm in for this. I didn't start this fight, but I'll finish it.
It just now dawning on me that this U.S. team needed Joe LaCava to throw 198 miles an hour under somebody's chin. Like just needed to get him off the plate.
Yeah.
Like that. You needed the caddy to do that is such an indictment, man.
I'm going Lowry on this one.
They'd have it. Neither of them had played well. And Shane Lowry didn't play great. So
Spieth just historically bad singles player.
yeah, God.
It again, noise all you want in a lot of the stats, but off the tee, there's no noise in any of that. Like you just hit your tee shots. Jordan Spieth so far this week in all of his matches, minus 6.36 strokes gained off the tee. That is almost 4 shots worse than Sepp, who's second worst.
If Spieth doesn't qualify for next year's Ryder Cup, like I don't know that he should be considered for a pick at Bethpage.
That was, you know what? That was
people are going to be like, oh, he finished second there. Man, he's fucking lost.
That was going to be my scorching hot take. Is like y'all were distracted talking about whether we should pick JT. That was not the discussion we should have been having.
I mean, he straight up stinks right now. And he's like in this world where he's all going on the range late at night and trying to find something. It's a very Phil situation.
I might try to send him that video we shot in California about that fairway finder. Yeah, maybe just hit this one. Here's you explaining how to do it. Maybe just hit this shot.
Ugh.
I think a home Ryder Cup, I'd still probably take him. I don't know.
We'll get there when we get
classic
there.
excuse making like dude just had a baby a couple weeks ago. Like that was
he did
that
not
was
have a
alarm
baby.
bells.
It did not respect
Excuse
Annie.
me.
Thank you.
Excuse me.
Thanks, Cody. That's
Thank you. Good save there. His wife had a baby a couple weeks ago.
Congrats on your baby, man.
Thank you. Yeah, I went through a lot.
You
for
can
that.
make me cry.
It's not nothing. Like I know that he took off on the road and he's probably not getting a ton of sleepless nights out there, but it's still just not nothing. Because he looks like somebody that just had a baby. Having played 4 rounds of golf since having one, that's a lot like what I'm minus 6.36 strokes off the gain off the tee as well. But it was, dude, I was shook by how bad it looked.
What a bad pick though, because it was Annie didn't have a baby on surprise.
True.
Like they could have seen that coming.
It's true.
Sure.
But he qualified, didn't he? I'm sorry.
No, he was a pick.
Oh, he was a pick. Oh, excuse me. Okay.
Yeah. I struggle with a lot of this, man, because it was like, all right, you can do this 2 ways of why the hell would you send Harman back out this morning, which I think we were even saying last night, right? And Harman, like they went back to Max and Harman this morning and they played a lot better. And like Jordan and Justin played pretty well last night. I don't think a ton of people were really questioning putting them out this morning. And they played like shit. Like it's just, I don't know how you successfully predict that they're going to play, how somebody's going to play. And it's in a sample size this small. It's just really, really difficult.
I was big on like, there's no way
Sam Burns too.
Wyndham should be sitting until Wyndham kind of shot the bed at the end of that
It's
match today. But Wyndham played really well prior to that. So
Yeah.
I still think Wyndham should have probably played both sessions today.
So who do we have left on Ricky and Wyndham on the U.S. side?
Mhm.
Yes.
Bob and Tommy.
And Bob and Tommy. I think
Who would
that's
you
pretty
like
clear.
out of those?
I think that's pretty clear what that order is, right? I gotta think it's
Right.
Bob 11th and Tommy 12th.
It is Tommy 11th, Bob 12th.
Whoa.
Bob 12th is such an interesting.
I
So
know
what
it
would you
never,
go on the other
ever
side?
comes down to the last match, but like, what if it does? On the other side, I guess I would go Wyndham 11th, Ricky 12th.
You flip those two.
Come on.
Match 11, Tommy Fleetwood, Ricky Fowler. Match 12, Big Bob, Wyndham
Whoa.
Clark.
You
Might
have
be a Shankoff in the 12th.
you have a I get it, man. The stats and stack it and the numbers say this and blah 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 blah. But you have a day where like you have to have a historic comeback, which means it's almost definitely going to come down to the last match if you do win.
Mhm.
And the guy you're putting out there is the guy that just
Choked it.
shit down his leg twice in a row on the 18th hole. We absolutely had to have him. That's provocative.
And when he hit that second one, he put his head down. It was like he could tell he was just it happened again. It fucking happened again.
Man, I'm not gonna let the super small sample size sway me. Like I do think he's a dog. I do think Wyndham's like kind of made for it, and I think he's gonna get up for it, and he's gonna play really well, and he's gonna be in his match. I don't think it's gonna be any kind of blowout or anything. But
God,
but what if it comes? What if it comes down to 18? Wyndham versus Bob is like that's like college kickers shit. Yo, anything could happen. Get some money on this thing, man. Anything could go down.
Oh, gosh, DJ, that is the perfect transition because International Golf Glory is on the line. America's best golfers are facing off against Europe stars in this week's tournament. No matter who you're rooting for, DraftKings has you covered on all the action. New customers can pocket $200 instantly in bonus bets for betting just $5 on golf. You can bet all the individual matches. If you got strong takes about any of them, any convictions, you can put that straight into action. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use code NLU. New customers can get $200 instantly in bonus bets for betting just $5 on next week's tournament. That's code NLU. Only the DraftKings Sportsbook. The crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit www.1800gambler.net. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly on behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort. Licensee partner Golden Nugget, Lake Charles. 21 age varies by jurisdiction. Void in Ontario. See dkng.co/golf for eligibility, terms, and responsible gaming resources. Bonus bets expire 7 days after issuance. Eligibility and deposit restrictions apply. Dab. Got it.
That might be the U.S. path to
can
victory.
we-
They need to
can we
bring
talk-
Dabbin back tomorrow.
Zach Johnson for a little bit.
We absolutely can.
Take me into the presser. I'm sorry. Did you say the presser? I just want to. Okay, cool. I'm with you. I just want to be clear.
Yeah.
I just want to be clear. Is that you're talking about the presser? Okay. Yeah, I got you. Go ahead.
DJ, Zach, as you just alluded to, might be the most cringe human being alive. He is such a earnestly weird person. I do not know exactly how to describe it. Obviously, if you're listening to this podcast, you've probably seen him. I only asked one question in the presser. It didn't seem like it was going to get asked, so I was like, hey, it's maybe a fun moment for Zach to sort of like lay down an inspiring thing. Let's just put out there. I said, Zach, Ben Crenshaw said 99. I got a feeling, sort of like sacred words in the sort of golf ecosystem. Do you got a feeling? And what do you think? And he sat there for a long time, sort of like almost itching, like he wanted so badly to
somehow a non-dramatic pause.
Yes. Then he just like reverted immediately back to cornball coach speak. We got 12 guys. I think I can get 12 points from them. That's all I'm going to say. I was like, man, okay.
The house erupt after that.
Yeah. I was like, I mean,
honestly, you're up 5 up.
That's right. Yeah, that's true.
So I think you're right. So the press conference stuff is all just really kind of irrelevant. None of it fucking matters. It's all just noise that we sort of talk about back and forth all the time. It's fun especially for the European press. That there was a bunch of questions today. Will you talk to Joe LaCava about his behavior? Do you think it was unacceptable? Do you think you should apologize personally to Rory McIlroy for his? I mean, not even kidding. 10 questions about should Zach apologize for?
Will you apologize?
Will you apologize?
Do you want the fedora?
We sent him the link. Will you apologize?
Which I found at some point to be like kind of funny. But I think strategy wise, it hasn't been particularly inspired either. It's just, he doesn't.
That picture that Cody just put on the screen is just, God, man. I wanted to believe that his captaincy didn't matter. It does. It's been really, really bad. Continue.
It has been, and I think, this morning I was thinking like he might be a worse captain than Tom Watson. Like I do go back to, it's kind of like it's the whole captaincy, right? He is not the lone captain. He's the person who is sort of the figurehead of a Stricker, Couples, Tiger, Furyk captaincy.
That's the issue. That is the issue.
Maybe it is an issue. Honestly, like I just don't really feel anything from them. I don't feel any situation where they've made like a maybe like sending Harmon and Max back out and being like, no, we're going to stick this and trust this plan was the one move where I was like, okay, like that was a move that I don't think I would have done, and it did it and worked out. Maybe sending Burns back out after he sucked. I might have sat Burns all the way to singles, but man, it's just been a really kind of uninspired captaincy performance. And I don't know really what to say from there. Luke is so measured and smart and kind of just, he doesn't really ever say anything volatile, but he doesn't ever like duck any questions with sort of this cornpone, like Midwestern, like golly gee shucks kind of stuff. And if I was like grading the two captains, I would very much be like, yeah, Luke like A- and Zach like D+, man. That's, yeah, you can't really, I don't know why we would give him a better grade at this point.
I don't disagree. I want to, as we're sitting here on Saturday night, again, I want to kind of give us 4 days into next week to like dig into what has happened, right? Because I don't know why they've put the pairings out that they have. We've gotten some reports that they may have gone rogue, maybe even gone woke when it comes to when it comes to the pairings, or they have the certain assistants are, this has not come from anyone within the analytics team or even anyone within the team or anything anywhere close to the team. So it's unverified, but there's some reports that potentially that they, I guess I had a lot of trust in the evolution of involving other decision makers in coming up with pairings, right? And the reports I'd gotten were like, yeah, they're doing a really good job with that, and they have a trust level that goes back to Whistling Straits. It was like, oh shit, man, we rolled that out and we won 19-9. I don't know what has happened, right? I don't know if the analytics put these teams out and like do it, and they've gotten their ass whooped. Like, will I have to apologize for the analytics? I will. We just don't have that information right as of now. If they've also gone against what is recommended,
don't know what he has.
They think it's just a total check the box exercise of analytics, and they're still going off Freddie Couples' gut or whatever it is for pairings, then like that takes the captaincy down from a D+ to like an absolute failure, right? Because they have a talented group of players and they've not pressed the right buttons. It's just hard to know where that blame lies right now. I'm full agreement on the vibe giving off and cultivating a team atmosphere of any kind has been an abject failure. Completely.
Not according to him. He's like, this is the greatest team I've ever been a part of.
He's so unbelievable.
I heard that too. That's because the other ones sucked worse.
So it just putting a pin in that slightly to be like, I would love more information. Definitely the vibes right now are not good. I also just don't want to pin this shitty play from the U.S. on him. Sure. Like you put Xander and Cantlay out to play golf together. That's an easy decision. If he doesn't do that, he's roasted. I would have roasted him for it.
Sure.
And they went out and played shitty. And Xander especially. I don't know what you do about that. I would have put JT and Spieth out just like he did.
Sure.
Played shitty. Like I don't want to pin all of this on ZJ because it's been an ass performance of golf from the United States.
It's not Zach's fault that Scotty and Brooks got fucking boat raced today in the historically bad performance.
Yeah, maybe the odds would say, or the analytics would say they're a bad matchup, but it also doesn't say that Scotty's going to play like historically bad alongside Brooks. Like they were both equally really bad in that match, and I don't think you can possibly expect any of your players to play that bad. So it's not good though.
One thing that I wanted to add when we're talking about captains real quick, and I agree with you, Sully, that a lot of this is going to come out in the days, weeks, everything
people are
post this event. Yes, for sure. But Paul McGinley's been doing quite a few, of course, Golf Channel pieces and everything, and talked about post Whistling how Luke was given like basically complete authority to break everything down and have complete ownership of what he was putting together. And I think based off of the success that you've seen so far through 2 days here, is that like involving Eduardo and having your statistician be like an assistant captain and is like, these aren't recommendations from an outside firm. Like, this is somebody who is inside this team. You trust him explicitly.
Great point.
That's an awesome point.
Going with, instead of an outside firm that is very, very smart and has an incredible track record bringing recommendations, but you still get hit. What I probably believe is going on with like, yeah, okay, that's cool, but like, yeah, these guys like want to play.
They never played a Ryder Cup.
These guys want it more.
Yeah, they don't never played. They don't know Ryder Cup experience here. I got gut experience. I'm going to go with the eye test here, which I know, Randy. I don't mean to offend you with that.
I know
of course.
it's a big push and pull between the eye test and the data boys. I'm interested to see where TC is going to shake out, because he clowns on ZJ for invoking the eye test instead of the data, and then he clowns on it's, he might just like clowning. I think it would be my hypothesis.
TC wanted me to pass along that he feels like Zach is one of maybe the worst captain in history.
You can hear about that on tomorrow night's show.
Kevin, your question though was a complete layup to him, and I don't think press conferences don't really mean that much. I get, but they're such an integral part of this competition to not only get your players fired up, your fan base fired up. Like, that is when your leadership really is displayed to everybody external. That is supposed to be a reflection of what hopefully you're doing in the team room. And if this is how Zach is leading inside the team room, like, we've been fucked from like 2 years ago. Because it's not it. Even when given a platform and like the perfect opportunity to just repeat what you said, he could not do that.
Cody, I don't like equating like war to sports stuff, but I do think, like, can you imagine like a general being like so afraid of saying the wrong thing in any sort of scenario where he was trying to like impart leadership that he just ended up kind of mumbling his way through whatever? That's to me what Zach sort of comes across as. It's just so measured and so scared of like creating a headline. It's like, oh, we don't want to give him any bulletin board material at this point. Like, who gives a fuck what history says about like, I'm predicting we're going to come back? Just give your team something to believe in. You don't have to be Ted Lasso in that moment. You can just say like, you know what? Those are sacred words for us. And I do believe. So let's watch.
Of course I believe, Kevin. Why wouldn't I believe?
Yeah.
That's why I'm stepping into battle with these guys.
Exactly.
Of course I believe in them.
Man, it ain't that hard. And you know what? If it doesn't go well, like, it's forgotten because the other team is drinking champagne and you're never going to be captain again either way. So like, you're not protecting your job in any way. Just say something that's inspire them.
Even like the LaCava stuff, all you had to do is be like, yeah, like, I'm going to handle it. Oh, yeah. Did you hear about the parking lot? Well, no, but I'm going to handle it, whatever it is. Like, it'll be discussed and we'll take care of it. Don't worry about it. Instead of like, oh, well, I think, they said that he talked to Rory and they made up.
Well, Senator, like, per your last question.
Right. Like, just fucking take ownership of something.
It is so.
Take ownership and send LaCava out first tomorrow. That's what you had to do.
Hell yeah.
And I want Joe LaCava to come out and win their match tomorrow. And I want him to say it's the best win of his career, just like Steve Williams did. Okay. And I want to give LaCava the Nicholas Jacklin Award when it's all over. Who is going to win the Nicholas Jacklin Award? Who's the front runner?
Such a good. You took the words out of my mouth.
Now, I did mention this to TC. Zach did apologize in the press conference for his spatial awareness. TC was really upset about Zach constantly having to ask to move. So I thought maybe it'd be big of TC to award Zach the Nicholas Jacklin Award.
Maybe TC and Zach can share it.
Oh, maybe.
Shared award. That could be nice.
Maybe Jamie Ware should get it.
Maybe. Truly invoking the spirit of the Ryder Cup.
I'm going to bet that like Ludwig gets it.
I bet Rose gets it.
That's a good one.
Rose.
Yeah.
Right, because
you have to share
it's one
it,
from
though,
each
right?
side.
We're not talking about the Nicholas Jacklin Award.
It's either Rose.
That was enough.
Rose or Sevi. I think they might give it to Sevi.
You should have seen how fucking mad Solly was when they unrolled the Sevi flag on the first tee today.
Wow.
That was Tron was on one. Solly, I bet you're so pissed. No one hates Sevi like Solly does.
Why were they honoring? I mean, like, no disrespect to Sevi, but why were they honoring Sevi other than like
he's the 13th man?
Yeah, well, 14th behind the
the crowd,
and I think the American Marshals, the Guardians of the Cup. He's like the 16th man.
But like, will they honor him in Adair again? And will
Probably.
they honor
Hell
him in
yeah.
the Netherlands? And like,
Did you guys hear the story about Højgaard?
It's like the 26th anniversary of when he like fluffed his lie and won the Ryder Cup.
Oh,
Okay? Like,
oh! You don't do that, Solid.
you just don't do
you
that.
just don't insult Sebi here. Foreign soil.
Did you hear the story about Højgaard
No.
when John Rahm made eagle on 18 yesterday?
I did not.
Before he banged that putt in, Højgaard, 21-year-old dude, walks up to him as he's reading his putt. He's like, "Hey, what do you think Sevi would do here?"
Are you serious?
Yes, and he fucking made it.
Wow.
Can we talk about the first tee this morning
Banging.
and in the afternoon? Total flip.
Yeah.
Probably some listeners of the pod among the organizers because they had some music out there. They had a hype man out there that was like legitimately funny. He was very good.
great.
He was just, hey, it's hot out here. Like if you get a little, dehydrate a little bit, just put your hand up and we'll make sure to point the camera at you because if you puke, we want that on TV. I mean, it was really good. And man,
Leading good chance, music, starting songs.
Afternoon was fucking lit. It was awesome. The hair was standing up on the back of my neck. It was just USA is terrified, Europe's on fire. And it was very apt at the time, coming off another losing foursome session. US had 2.5 points on the board, and they just kept it going. And they playing the music on top of it. It was awesome. The hair was standing up on my neck, as I said, and it was a shot of life in this event of just like I had such a great time today. I've had such a great time at this Ryder Cup, despite the fact that the U.S. has gotten their doors blown off, and I've had to wear that fedora a lot more than I want to. It's been awesome. It has been so fun, and there's been so much inner like fun golf within it and fun moments that I'm a huge fan of this entire event.
Yeah, here.
Any other golf? We kind of jumped all around some of the matches. Any other matches you guys want to discuss today? How was the viewing experience today, Randy?
What could I
Remember, you are in the
say?
running for the Nicholas Jackal Award, right? So
Exactly.
Disqualifying.
What could I possibly say that Tron Carter didn't say better yesterday? I would
The Chappelle line. What else? What can we say about the TV broadcast that hasn't been said about Afghanistan?
My routine again was to tape. I taped it. I did make myself get up earlier this morning, got through foursomes, and eventually got live. It just, not to beat a dead horse, bang a drum here, but it's just not good. And so I would encourage everybody to listen to TC, all of what he said yesterday. I thought you guys hit the nail on the head. I didn't find it particularly better in any case today. I think the thing that just sticks out the most to me is what an insult the playing through is. And I think it was billed as like, oh, we're doing the fan a favor here with this playing through. We're gonna let you keep watching the golf as we play the commercials. But it's totally distracting. You cannot see what's going on. They cut to it at the most inopportune times, like without warning. It's just completely garbage, and I wish they would do away with it.
It kind of hit me this afternoon. I was following this Spieth and JT and Rose and McIntyre match, and some good shots were played, some good putts from Justin Rose, and nobody was talking about it. And I saw some tweets of like, hey, they haven't showed any of the last two groups, including Rory McIlroy, for like 60 minutes. And I was just like, all right, so I guess I'll live tweet it. One and two, it was like, this is literally the almost the equivalent of having 4 like NFL games on at the same time. Like you're playing individual games. Like Rory's in the fourth group, he's not competing with anybody in the first group. You're playing an individual game, and it'd be like if there's 4 individual NFL games, and the only option to watch was Red Zone, and they drenched it in like 33% commercials, and like you weren't going to see all the plays of the Patriots game or whatever. Like that's what it is like watching golf currently. And you cannot like YouTube TV now has multi-view where you can view 4 college football games at once. And you're telling me you can't just like have cameras out there showing 4 matches at once and let me pick between them and have it sponsored. And like, it is so antiquated, so ridiculously antiquated that I wasn't even watching it. And I was so frustrated thinking about like, this is probably the best like golf has to offer in terms of like introducing casual fans to the game. It's the most different experience in the whole game. We talk about that a whole heck of a lot. And just to have it totally sanitized and seeing people like football people on my timeline being like, are there only 2 matches going on right now is just maddening, man. It's nothing we haven't said, but fuck, it's just
Sure, when there's 12 out there, it should be better tomorrow.
Oh yeah, it's gonna be really good tomorrow. And another thing, they lose track of they always keep with the early matches, even no matter what the score is, and lose track of the late ones. And then when they come like late, you have no idea who's played well or who's played horrible, and you have no context for the match, and you just end up don't caring about it. And
can I say one positive thing? I don't know where the world feed goes out to or who gets to hear that or who has access to that or whatever, but that's what we have in the media center. Hunter Mahan's been
awesome,
so good on the world feed. Yeah, I hope he has a future and I hope he wants to do more of that stuff because he's very like chilled out and laid back and making jokes, and it's the definition of what we always say, like not trying to do an impression of a broadcaster. Like he just sounds like he's sitting at the table shooting from the hip, calling shots. Whoa, that was really good. Whoa, that was really awful. Let me tell you why. He's been great. So Hunter, if you're listening, please do more because they've been great.
If Zinger wants to retire, I'm all for it at this point.
Sure,
yeah, put Hunter Mahan in his spot immediately.
Oh,
so one thing in discussing ZJ's captaincy, we didn't talk about a huge moment that happened today, which is in the JT Spieth match. JT had already hit. I don't know where he had hit it, but ZJ inserted himself into the equation, Jamie Weir style, and told him to hit 3-wood on 16.
He denied this in the press.
He did get asked this.
Yeah.
He said, I don't tell these guys what to hit. I mean, I only give them the data. That we just telling them what's possible here, what other groups have done. I definitely wouldn't have said what to hit. So it did very much seem like he said after JT hit it in the rough to Spieth, like, hey man, like hit 3-wood here so that we at least have a chance when you're 3 down with 3 holes to play. But he was adamant that he did not talk him out of a club selection. He was like, these guys are the ones who qualified for the team. I mean, I tried to qualify. I didn't make it. So obviously I'm not going to tell them what clubs to hit.
This does not sound very Iowa of you right there. Just impressions wise, worst of the week.
That's fair.
Will you apologize?
I didn't know I would have to do so much Iowa.
That's somehow worse. I wish you would have told him what to hit, right? I wish you'd been like, yeah, Max, like hit driver, and if you get over that ridge left, like you have no shot over that ridge.
You're gonna hit that club?
Don't do that.
Okay.
That introduces all kinds of bad.
I mean,
all right.
Might work out for you, I guess.
Oh, good luck. Here's a chart that says you shouldn't. I guess you'll know better than me.
Do you think he told Wyndham to hit it up in the other hole?
That was such a bad shot. Jordan hit.
Yeah.
Also, oh my God, the Euros cheered so fucking loud when that ball went in the water.
Oh yeah,
it was the entire.
Just don't do that.
As I mentioned, entirely encircled hole. Just people just raving, clapping.
That is a great hole.
Hooting.
I think you guys talked about this earlier before I was here, but
hooting and hollering. And I have to give a shout out to a friend of the program, Rue McDonald from the DP World Tour. As soon as people started cheering, just goes, "Oh my gosh, I hate that! I hate that they're doing that. That's just not right. You don't.
It's not
do
the
that."
Scottish fans that do that. That's for sure.
Yeah, exactly.
Like we say this it's fine. It's totally fine in the Ryder Cup.
Of course.
Just don't pretend like it only happens in Europe or only happens in the US, but it's part of the Ryder Cup and it doesn't bother any player or fan.
No player complained about the fans today. And yet there was like there's a media report saying like how the players shouldn't be complaining about the fans. I didn't hear a single player like whining about the fans.
I would venture to guess that some of those media also didn't hear any of this stuff that they're claiming to hear. That's because they don't fucking leave the media center. But that's another topic for another day.
Again, that could have gone 2 ways with Cantlay on, he smiled and laughed about the hat stuff, which could have gone a totally different direction.
I'm just looking at your screen. Scotty and Brooks lost 9 and 7.
That happened today.
Did you hear that? That was, yeah.
That 9, no one has ever lost a match by 8.
9 and 7.
We were doing radio as they were looking into this, and it was like, yeah, the biggest one ever, 7 and 6. Ken Brown, he said he's down the street in the other radio booth. We don't talk about
only in 18-hole matches. They used to play 36-hole matches.
Right. There's some ass beating.
So you look back, there's some 11 and 9.
Get to that ass.
9 down. You played 11 holes of golf and you lost 9 of them. They lost. So they doubled the first hole. They bogeyed the second hole, doubled the third hole, then went par birdie. So their first half was the 5th hole, but they lost to birdie on the 4th hole. They parred the 6th hole, but lost to birdie. They have the 7th with pars. They bogeyed 8 and I guess conceded a birdie, or Hovland and Ludwig made birdie. They parred 9 but lost to birdie. They bogeyed 10 and bogeyed 11. And I didn't see any of this, so I don't know what the concessions are. They lost to 2 birdies in there, but they shot legitimately over 40 on the front, and then bogeyed the only 2 holes he put on the back.
Sick. Great work.
I mean, Randy, that's comfy. Where
It was,
you and I are coming from.
Super comfy. I know. And as bad as that
chance
sounded,
to break 80, just give me a chance on the back 9, man.
Solly, as bad as that sounded, you reading that, it was even worse watching it. Like, it truly was some of the worst golf I've ever seen from 2 high level individuals. It was incredible, and that's what I mean. Like the hat gate. I'm repeating myself, but this whole hat gate at the end papers over Scotty, Brooks, JT, and Spieth, 4 of your like biggest stars, totally no showing this morning in a spot where you got your ass kicked yesterday. I've never been more disappointed in guys, just little boys going off.
You know what, Big? Like the Americans you think they're using this as like motivation, and they could also get like beat like 10-2 tomorrow.
Oh,
like
sure.
it could be a historic getting fucked up situation.
The only losing records in the competition right now: Scotty Scheffler, the #1 player in the world; Brooks Koepka, 5-time major champion; Nikolai Højgaard, Justin Thomas, 2-time major champion; Jordan Spieth, 3-time major champion; Xander Schauffele, one of the top 5 players in the world; and Ricky Fowler. Those are the only guys with losing records. Everybody else has won at least one match.
Did
Zach
Ricky
did say
still have
that
the
Ricky was a
today?
perfect gentleman when he told him he wasn't playing to get to that.
An embrace to remember for the rest of his life.
That's true. Ricky might win the Nicholas Jacklin Award for that embrace
yeah.
after being told he was sitting out.
You know, Big would love that.
Oh,
What was the best thing you guys saw today?
the scene walking down 18 was just fucking awesome.
Yeah.
And I mean, the sun setting in over Rome in the distance, an unbelievable sentence to say about a golf event. Every single person on the grounds coming down that fairway and around both sides, and just I've always you watch like a Sunday of an Open Championship, and the rough starts to get really burnt out and crisp and brown. And I just wished I was there, and I was there in this one, and I was just having a really good time. It was a really cool scene, knowing we're gonna get that tomorrow in some way, and we won't see it again for 2 more years. And it's just that was awesome.
Max made some
Max,
absolutely big dick shots.
We haven't talked enough about him
Today. He
Somehow.
came into 12 in the morning session. I believe you were standing there for that.
Yes.
Do you want to tell people what happened?
Sorry, I was thinking what did you say?
Max is shot into 12 this morning.
Oh God, we were catching up with this group, and he hits it's
par 5.
It's par 5. It's playing really short this week, and a lot of guys are getting there, and the pin was up front, but hits this shot in there, and we didn't hear like an eruption when it got really close. Like it got excited, and the ball disappeared. It turns out the ball was so close to the hole that you couldn't even see it from the fairway. Like it was like just directly next to the hole. It might have been within 2 inches of the hole.
And then he comes into that same hole during the 4-ball session. Same, probably similar club. He hit 3-wood off the tee, but had an iron into the green still and hit it to concession eagle length again. Walks off the green. I was like posted up there, and he's sitting there, and he like
Max, any comment on the shot?
No, absolutely not. He looks back and just like smirks and is like, I haven't had to putt on this green today. I was like, yeah, no, I've been watching. This photo you can see is him trying to catch some shade behind his golf bag, which really made me laugh. And then he asked me about the Big, you'll like this. He asked me what my time was on the mini crossword today, and I had to inform him that I had once again beat the fuck out of him. And his shame. this was his reaction. Yeah, his shameful 90-second time today.
Max has been the dude for the U.S. He has been the only. The U.S. has 4 total guys that are positive in strokes gained approach. Again, a lot of noise in that, but like Max has been the best iron player, best approach player of the entire event. He's at the most stuffed shots. He's +5 in strokes gained approach. Next up is Rahm and Hovland at plus like 3.5. And he's been a dog.
After that eagle, they get to the par 3, 13th. Fleetwood rolls in a really nice birdie putt. Max answers, walks it in, pointing, yelling all kinds of hood rat shit at the crowd. It's great. 14, Nikolai makes a great birdie. They get to 15. Max is hitting it all over the map. Hits it left, has to punch out, chunks his next one into the bunker, and then holds the bunker shot and turned away from
the image you're looking at right now.
Yeah, turned away from where I was sitting and pointed. I think from where I was sitting, it seemed like he was mad that they had turned the video screen back on, because what ends up happening is they have giant video screens everywhere. that are playing the action. And a lot of guys, like, you can only see so much if you're a fan out there. So you usually just post up in one spot, wait for guys to come through. And while you're posted up, you're out there just watching the video screens. And so guys are cheering when, McIntyre makes a putt on the other side of the golf course. When they see it on the video screen, they cheer like crazy. But they'll turn those off, or they'll switch them over to just scoreboards when the players get there, so that people aren't cheering for action or whatever. And for whatever reason, during, like, in between, like, Max's third and fourth or something, they, like, flipped it back on, showed like a McIntyre birdie or something that the crowd, like, whipped up, and everybody's clapping and cheering and whatever, like, while Max is, like, going through, I think when he's going through his routine. Again, this is all conjecture for me, but this is what it looked like, because as soon as he holed that bunker shot for par, which ended up making the match go dormy, he turned around and is just pointing. Him and Griner are both just, like, pointing and screaming, like, in the direction of that scoreboard. So I don't know if someone either said something to him and then he just truly put it in their face, or if he was yelling at the leaderboard.
So that's a great theory. That's not at all why he was.
Really? Yeah. What happened?
Some guy was just ribbing it after he chunked into the bunker. Some guy he said between the 10 minutes I had to hit my next effing shot, some guy was just riding me the entire time. And so as soon as I hold it out, I went right back at him. And I was like, I just blacked out. I don't know what I even said. But I was like, I just wanted to give it right back to him.
All right. Well, there you have it. Yeah. That's why we asked the questions.
You know why? You just don't do that.
Yeah, you don't do that.
Just don't do that.
You don't do that.
My favorite thing just was before the LaCava stuff was, I actually thought it was really cool that all the U.S. players were kind of pretending to wave their hats. That was a truly awesome scene,
yeah.
All the hat shit is so stupid, but, like, it is fun when, like, people take something like that and kind of make a joke out of it. Like Patrick, they were singing the song like Patrick for your bank account, Patrick, or whatever.
Yeah. They also were singing Zombie. What's on your head?
Yeah.
What's on your
they
head?
They sing great songs. Shout out to the Cranberries.
Yeah.
But that Patrick kind of smiling at that and just, like, making light of it was pretty fun.
I thought you were going with, like, when the Reed shush, like, became a meme and stuff. Like, when stuff like that becomes memeable is when it gets really fun.
I don't even think we said how good Cantlay was down the stretch, because he got kind of hung out to dry by his partner and truly put the team on his back on those unbelievable putt on 16 after the entire world is just swooping at him and whipping the terrible towels. 17 is the only guy to hit the green, and it was awesome shot in there. And then 18 just. God, that was a hard chip. You pointed out, like,
hey, our preview video
showed that grass is weird.
It's hard to hit flops.
Can't get the club under it on some of those. And then I truly can't believe you made that putt.
That was a long putt, very difficult putt, and I still can't believe what happened afterwards. But gosh, you just had to bitch about getting paid to play the Ryder Cup. It's a very tough scene. I don't think we have time to get into that tonight, but that's just not it, man.
We should talk about it tomorrow, because Luke was asked about it in the press conference, and he was forcefully, no, you should not be paid to play in the Ryder Cup. It is an honor. And it really gets to this idea, I think, that, like, Europeans really think of this as, like, an honor to do this, and Americans think of it often as an obligation. Not all Americans, but a lot of people of this generation have.
I'm gonna leave you with this. I don't want to unpack it tonight, but I want you to think about it all day tomorrow.
Okay.
I think Keegan should have been here as an assistant captain. If he's serious about how much this event means, about wanting to be in part of the system, all of that stuff, I think he should be here fucking making sandwiches and getting waters and doing all of that stuff.
And you know what? I think he would have done it. I think if they said, you didn't make the team, but we feel like you might be a candidate for Bethpage, or, you're willing to do this and that. Like, will you do this? I think he would have said, okay. So, which I think would have showed.
Think about that, because I think going forward, that's maybe a hole. You've
got to
for
have
the
some
US.
younger like captains. Yeah. You can't just, like, cycle in the same old heads.
Totally. I was thinking that. No offense to any of these people, but watching Stricker and Furyk and Davis Love and Freddie Couples and all these guys kind of amble around and.
Tom Lehman.
Yeah.
There might be too many people in the ropes.
Well, I don't want to make that case, because they're gonna kick us out. But
people doing actual work, I'm all for. Yeah. And you know what? Like, wives and girlfriends, great. Like, that's part of it too. Celebrities, randos, like all these agents, whomever. Like, enough is enough.
A lot. I the only, just to put a wrap on the getting paid to play the Ryder Cup thing, or we'll get into it later, is just like. This event supports the DP World Tour, the European Tour, like, keeps it alive. And I know that, like, Cantlay's not a DP World Tour member and whatnot, but hey, it's a home and home thing. Like the DP World Tour has one where they make a lot of money, and then the PGA of America makes a lot of money. His case is PGA of America should pay the players directly. The PGA of America pays, I believe, if I understand it correctly, 20% of their gross television revenue to the PGA Tour.
I had never heard that.
Like as a talent fee. I'll tell you, that came from, I asked Seth Wall about this today, and that's the only thing he would give me on the record on this topic was just, he said, I told this to other people, but like, this is what we do. We give 20% of the tour at the suggestion that it goes towards player pension. And they're not in charge of what happens to the money once it goes there.
William McGirt's music.
Now listen, does that get split? Is it maybe part of the problem and go to the pool? But I also think like paying players directly when you're making 6 captains picks and like your friends are potentially in charge of picking you is like a really fucking complicated thing. And Patrick Cantlay, you have a Goldman Sachs sponsorship, or did. I don't remember if you still do. You have a Delta one, you have a DeWalt one, you won the FedEx Cup, man. Like maybe you just play this one for like the goodwill and the rise in stature and value that it gives all your endorsement deals. Like there's absolutely tremendous financial incentive for you to play this event and be a likable and approachable person. And you're fucking all of that by needing everything to be this transactional. On principle, PGA of America and DP World Tour making money on the backs of all these players. Something wrong with that? Like totally. If you want to get pretty high-minded about it, I don't really care that much. It's just like, you can't make a stink about it. Either you play it and you don't get paid, or you just skip it. If your labor is worth that much to you and you don't want to play it, like just fucking don't do it.
I think there's a lot with people who are pretty smart, but probably not as smart as they quite think. They're often like,
who are you talking about?
Yeah, conspiratorial about like, and really the best way to sort of combat that is like to just spell out like, look, here's where the money goes. Like here is the full transparency of like what's happening. And if you want to dispute that, that's up to you. But like this idea that like someone's getting rich off you and someone must be fucking me over. There's a lot of that in golf from people I think who aren't actually willing to do the work to like sit in the meetings. And to Patrick's credit, I'll say like he does seem pretty involved in some of this stuff, but probably not with like the PGA of America being like, okay, where does this money go? Like that's what he probably ought to do if he feels this way, is like sit down with Seth Wall and be like, all right, show me like exactly why we can't get paid for this, or why the thing is only a $200,000 contribution to charity or whatever. Because
and I don't know if they have, but based on what I've heard, if he's done that with Augusta, like he's done that with, so he probably has with the PGA of America as well. Like that's been his thing of like, hey, I mean, you're only paying us this much amount of the total amount of money that you're making on this. We're going to protest. Maybe ad-libbing that last part, but like that's kind of the insinuation there. And yeah, man, it's just like you watch Europe dance around and the songs be sung, and those dudes like genuinely care about the matches so much. And then we're talking about this like the thing you just don't talk about on this side is like, I'm stunned. We're down 10.5, 5.5. Like I'm absolutely stunned. Like
it pisses me off that people don't think that stuff matters. It's like, they're just about golf shots and they're just about making putts. Like, man, yeah, the last fucking 30 years are pretty evidence that it's about more than just, you're a good golfer. It's about camaraderie. It's about passion. It's about, all the other stuff in between.
You can't overcome just straight up shitty golf. Like you can't, but you can get a lot more out of your players by cultivating a really strong team culture. And this, again, clown painting meme gif, like this time, that's what I thought would be different with a team that, like, again, if you want to say the boys club thing, at least the thought there was that they were really good friends and all got along and would have a really good team atmosphere. And like that just has not shined through. Yeah. So
still,
Randy, any thoughts on pay for play?
I got a chance.
No. It's nice to know that the PGA chips off the PGA, the players indirectly at least, because I do think, there are people making a lot of money on this. And if it's not the players, like I feel like the players should be near the front of that line, if not in the front of that line. But
it's also, PGA of America is also a non-for-profit, and like, their money goes back into the game of golf in many different fashions. And it's just like, I don't know, man. I kind of feel like you're pretty heavily and well compensated by the game of golf. And if this is your form of giving back, I think that's okay.
Sure.
It's tough.
I do think there's an interesting discussion though, like to try to create a Ryder Cup. Like where's the limit, I guess is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Should the PGA and the PGA of America and the DP World Tour? Like, are they trying to squeeze every single dollar out of this thing? Or are they putting on an event where they can make?
I can stop you there. Yes, definitely.
Yeah. So that's where I'm like, if that's the mindset, then it's like, well, shit.
It's a fair point.
I don't know. I feel like it's fair play for the players to be like, well, where's ours?
So, got to share it with William McGirt. Anything we missed, Cody, from the day?
You guys did a great job running it down again. 12 singles matches tomorrow. I want to know, what's your guys' game plan?
I was just thinking that myself.
I think I got a decent rhythm going of get that first tee atmosphere in. If there's a really good match, maybe get out and see the first few holes of it. I did that this morning with the JT one and learned very quickly that was going to be a romp. Get back to the media center, rest up a little bit, watch the golf, and see how things are developing and figure out which ones you want to catch. There's usually like the blowouts are, you don't want to get stuck in a blowout unless there's something really significant happening in it.
I was chasing historic blowouts today. I did have a good time going and watching some of the this could get out of control. But tomorrow will be different.
It's tough to navigate out there. I mean, it's just a big ups and downs and all that. But again, I tweeted this and I've addressed this multiple times on the pod already. I'll keep doubling down. I'm keep going harder, and that I've never done a bigger 180 on any one thing than Marco Simone as a Ryder Cup venue. It's been
announce the next one now.
Total shock. Like I said this to DJ on the way home. The fact that that LACC totally did not live up to the hype that we from what we saw in the preview, and Marco Simone blew away the hype is one of the great upsets of my entire career.
Big, you there, buddy?
Sorry,
You have
guys.
to look in.
I don't know if I'll have to live that down.
Yeah, I think
that was the membership of LACC
ripping out our
pulling
cords.
the plugs.
Guys, I think that the tube is shrinking right now. I think this is
we're
the live stream telling us that it's time to cut. We just surpassed the 2-hour mark. Any clothing thoughts for you tomorrow, Big? You waking up? You gonna watch the whole thing, or what's your plan?
Definitely taping it. I will not be doing any live, and that's my sleep schedule and the TV coverage. Like I know how it's going to go. They're going to stay on the first tee. People are going to be pissed. There's going to be matches out on the course. Like I know how this story is going. So I'll tape it, wake up, I don't know, 8 o'clock and take it in at my own leisure.
Love it.
Let me just say too, I didn't
everyone.
really get this blast off. Sorry. The uniforms, the Team Europe uniforms are horrible. They suck. They look like
those are your boys.
Yeah, no style. I've been very, very disappointed.
Randy, I got you guys Europe pins today, by the way.
Oh, thank you. That's very nice.
UNTC. Don't let me forget to give those to you. Although if you don't want it because their uniforms are so bad, I don't have to give it to you.
All right,
I need to make my way to the merch tent before.
For the first time, I think since we've been here, I think we're going to get more than 4 hours of sleep potentially tonight.
It's looking that way. The data's looking good.
Data's looking good. But thank you to High Noon, Precision Pro, DraftKings, Cody McBride, Big Randy, DJ Piehowski, Kevin Van Valkenburg, everyone in the chat, everyone at BMW. I've been somehow forgetting to shout them out. They have been awesome supporters of our content, everything Ryder Cup related, and teeing us up really, really well. With everything we could possibly need this week to get back to the hotel and to get the show to you guys and get some content out there. It's been awesome as always. They're a tremendous partner. They bring a lot of good Ryder Cup entertainment to you. So thank you to them.
They make a heck of a car.
It's a nice.
One scheduling note for tomorrow. We are going to be live, but it's going to be a little bit bigger show. Sunday shows usually are the biggest. We're going to let the boys, I'm guessing you're going to take in the post competition press conferences by both sides. It's going to take a little bit. So even though coverage gets done, it's probably going to be about the same time that we started today. So expect that, and we'll keep everybody updated on the socials.
Sounds
TC's
like a plan.
coming in hot tomorrow.
He's coming on short rest.
It's playoff chase.
That's right.
I feel like I might have let him down tonight by not savaging Zach Johnson enough, but I'll leave some.
You set the
space.
table.
We'll have plenty of time to fully decompress this thing. Yeah. We have 18 recap podcasts to do about this one. So thank you everyone for tuning in. We'll see you tomorrow night. Cheers.
Good night.
Cheers.